Nations of the world, Cobra is taking to the skies with our Cobra Rattler ground attack jet HasLab campaign. If successful, with each campaign pledge, you'll receive a 6-inch scale classified series vehicle and Wild Weasel action figure. Hasbro Pulse has all the requisite particulars, along with our ingenious schemes for unlock tiers. Well, what are you nitwits waiting for? Go fund my jets!
What are you nitwits waiting for? It's a Toy Con and Mood episode 182. Right back at you. We were here Sunday night talking about our best and worst of ComicCon 2024. And now we're back doing a deeper dive into all things Energon. Yes, G.I. Joe comics and G.I. Joe Classified. Every frame, image, as of like an hour ago, we got everything G.I. Joe Classified from Comic-Con here. A little Transformers, more about the crossover pre-orders, but a lot of Energon as well. We'll have a surprise guest during that segment. But in the meantime, of course, Trav Moody here, back at it. And we got BaldyLockz. We missed you on Sunday, but it's all about you today, man.
Yo, neighbors. No, it's all about you, man. Great job at SDCC. You killed it. I was really, really impressed with what you were able to accomplish over the weekend. So congratulations.
I appreciate that, man. It was a little different Comic-Con. I still had a great time. I had just the best time, but it was I went to work, you know what I'm saying? So learned a lot about everything. Time management, you know, a lot of good networking, got a lot of great advice from a lot of big time YouTube people in the toy industry. So I came out of it a different man. I was once a man, and now I'm just a little boy. But all right, man, let's get into it. First of all, though, I'm going to ask you about Comic-Con and all that, but let's give a shout to some folks in the chat right now. Not a shout, lots of shouts. Stanley, keeping an eye on Ramen Toys chat on another stream. Okay, well, don't promote other streams on this because then I'll have to pull a Punk with Toys and get angry about that. Joking. Mr. Mad Just 10 more minutes. Yeah, we're getting it on now. Good evening, gentlemen. Okay, so this is where we stop. We're going to talk to the rest of you because Gun Bunny Customs lit up Instagram today with a PP Hiss, a Python Patrol Hiss tank. Baldy, just talk about this lovely thing.
Well, first of all, Gun Bunny, you know I love your work. I'm really, really excited with everything that he's able to accomplish and put out. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. So, I mean, I know a lot of people would like to see the Hiss mold reused at some point and maybe get something like this. But do we really need it when we can just log on to Gun Bunny's Instagram and check it out?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That is artwork right there. I don't know how he does it, and he spends a lot of time. It is artwork.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of, thank you, Stygian. Yeah, hit the like button. It'll just help more people check us out tonight. Dynamic duo, and we may have a guest or two. But yeah, hit the like, guys. If you're watching, think got a few peeps in there. Hit the like. I really appreciate it. We got Salinas here. Hello, all. One Pouch Man. Damn is right. This thing is a thing of beauty. And you're right. There's no more room for stuff like this. So if they're probably not going to come out with one, but I'll hope and dream to see this at like a Joe Fest someday in person. Otherwise, I'm going to enjoy it on social media.
And yeah, and there's a lot of collectors that are fans that do stuff like Gun Bunny does, but he really does kind of own the spotlight when he's in it. And this is just beautiful. And I bet you I don't know if he sells this stuff, but I'm sure if he threw this up for an auction, it would do really well.
Oh yeah, it pays some bills, that's for sure, for a few months. Liquid Identity had a funny comment. Oh man, did I walk in at a sexy time? And I mean that Hiss, not you, Mood, but maybe Baldy a little bit. Yeah, sexy ass bald head and beard.
Thank you.
That Hiss and the twins are a thing of beauty. Yes, Baldy, we need it. Ken Best, what's going on?
Yep.
Appreciate it. What's shaking, everybody? How's everybody doing? So yeah, what's up to DJ Five Ash, Rich? We showed your comments and so forth. Other news today hitting Instagram, other military toy news. We had Corey Cantaloupe, or Pay. Is it Cantaloupe Bay or Cantaloupe? And by the way, we might as well just give a shout. Black Genghis, if you missed it, it was maybe a couple weeks ago now, 2-3 weeks ago. He did an interview with Corey and Fred Azon. It's tremendous. It's like the most underrated interview of the year. Go check it out at Black Genghis. You'll be doing yourself a favor. But in the meantime, Corey showed off the Robo Skull with a Cosmic Legions figure, a Tusk guard, I believe, with a skull. So really cool figure there. So I think Waltor the Mad, even though he's orange, he'll fit inside. He's got the skull. So this really looks good because those figures are a little bit bigger, Baldy, than your average Hasbro build.
Yeah, a little bulkier, but I mean solid figures, and they're beautiful. It's just, sometimes you have to make choices, and I choose to love them from afar right now. I have a feeling, though, I'll be getting a few. You saw the Robo Skull at Joe Fest.
Yeah, so did you.
So did I, and it is impressive.
Mm-hmm. And then there was an update from the official Skeletron Instagram. I don't know it word for word, but basically they were just saying like in 30 days, things should fly out. The Robo Skull should be flying overseas through shipping containers and on our doorsteps. Probably, I guess with those words, probably the end of August, which is what they told me at Joe Fest. So it seems in line. They said basically late August, end of summer, and the beginning of September, still summer. So as long as we get it right before the kids go to school, I think we're in good shape. Actually, kids go to school early now, so we'll get it in the fall, before all the madness, right? But dude, did you get slammed up with like a bunch of boxes at your door in the last like week? It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think you should see my recycling outside tonight. It is ridiculous. There's a ton of stuff out there. A lot of product came in. Somebody mentioned ramen, and my ramen racer came in. So very excited. Yeah, a lot of stuff came in. Tiger Force. Yeah, I think we're getting hit right now.
Yeah, it's the worst thing is we're at Comic-Con where things are expensive. There's lots of exclusives. We're paying a lot of money for hotels. I mean, a cheeseburger is $25. An alcoholic drink is 12 or 13. And I just keep getting notifications, Shop Pay, Amazon, Pulse. Like it was just Gmail, just constant notifications that something's flying at my door, man. It was it was ridiculous. And I was already bringing home a decent amount of figures, and not the kind of figures that a woman would appreciate, but just like crazy plastic everywhere, cardboard. I got a lot of stuff to review. I threw up a review. I'll talk about it at the end of the show, but man, I need almost a week off to do reviews of the Comic-Con stuff I picked up, but I also need to work for a week. So I had today off, but I was so exhausted. Like I got over the Comic-Con like hangover, so to speak, it took me 4 days, dude. 4 days to get over like just feeling normal again.
Yep. And guess what? Being busy, like I'm extremely busy at work. I have a lot going on with family and friends. Being busy is a high class problem. Do you know what I mean? It's good to be busy. It's great to be busy. It's hard when you're doing something you love like YouTube and you want to give back to the community, and you're so good at that. But it's great to be busy, and sometimes it's not so great. It's hard to get to all this product, and you can't review everything. So you get to the stuff that you want to share, and you go from there.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is, because some stuff passed me by while I was at the convention, I may do like some versus reviews, which are always fun. They're more fun for me to like, especially if something's been reviewed, a million times, to like take two things and be like, okay, which is better, like a comparative or a ranking or something. Like I'll try to do something creative to get some of the stuff out there. Hey, shout out to Bobby, Geeks Have Game. He had a second episode last night. If you missed it, he's starting to do live streams on pop culture. So if you're really big into like the MCU, anything Marvel Comics, DC Comics, you get all the Warner Brothers movies coming out, the James Gunn universe. Like that's where we're going to cover that stuff. In the Toy Kind of Mood family, it'll be on Geeks Have Game at geeks_have_game. So just look up Geeks Have Game. It'll come up. Follow him, Bobby, on social media. So this is a new avenue for him. He's taking a little break. He announced last Sunday on the show, just a little break to get his stuff going. You know, we all got channels. We got to make sure our channels are working first before this, you know, this kind of whatever, this Godfather channel or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Geeks Have Game will be the place to be for pop culture. So shout out to Bobby, and we wish him well. And I'm excited to jump on, you know, sometime in the future myself. Also, what's up, Darren? He says it'll be October before the Robo Skull gets shipped to backers, but that's tentative. Okay. Well, I guess they were saying, yeah, it'll ship from China at the end of August. You're right. But by the time we actually get it, it'll be October.
Yeah, I think the way you said it, verbatim repeating what they said, is they're shipping from the manufacturer. Yes. So I think most fans should have these in hand probably around the same time, or if not before the Dragonfly. So sometime this fall. Yep.
Cool.
And
all right.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. No, I'm far more excited. I was always excited, but far more excited for it now that I've seen it. And that's with seeing the Dragonfly and the Rattler. I still thankfully it's not anywhere near as big as those two. So there should be some room to throw that in. It's more of a his tank size. So Energon Universe has been great so far. Anymore. Yes, that'll be our second segment of the show. I'm just dying for Monster Force, Operation Monster Force stuff. Shipped October. I know it said like August, but you know, we'll see with that. I am loving Energon Universe. Yes, it's going to be fun to talk about that. My toy credit is on lockdown until the Rattler charges. Sabir, what's up, man? Thanks for always leaving comments on all the long form content we do, all the reviews and everything. That really means a lot. Helps us out.
He's always there. He's always there. I love it.
Always there. Smash the like buttons on Travis and Moody. Travis and Baldy. Travis Moody. Okay, cool. But I appreciate it. And then Paul says, what's up, Baldy and Travis? Sorry I didn't meet you at ComicCon, Travis, but I did get to meet Eb and some other people. Yeah, so shout out to Evan Foster, man. Had a good time. Thanks for hosting me at a Comic-Con in the hotel space, man. That was really good of you. Great guy, great hotel roommate. I didn't have to kill him. He didn't have to kill me. We left with a hug and a handshake. So, you know, sometimes those things when you share basically a studio apartment for 3 days, it can get crazy. So shout out to Evan, though. Real good dude. Saved me a seat in the Jill panel. Got to sit with him and Philip Donnelly, who we'll talk about later on when we talk about the Energon verse. And then things are good. How you doing, Baldy? You doing great?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, I'm doing really, really well. Hoping to get some content out myself soon, but that's why I like having a home here so that, you know, I can still kind of contribute and get to talk to everybody and, you know, shoot the shit.
Yeah, scratch that figure itch. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
cool. So let's get a slide up. This is our thumbnail image. So just to reiterate, I know we got more people watching now than before in the beginning. So we're doing all things Energon, a deep dive into G.I. Joe Classified from Comic-Con, because we just kind of went through it really quickly on Sunday, and then the Transformers crossover pre-orders, and then of course the Energon Universe. So, but in the meantime, and then the interview, Baldy, what'd you think of KJ and me talking to the two fellas there?
You know, the first thing I noticed was you guys stood in a perfect position to get cropped out.
which is fine. Right.
Just in case another channel wanted to run their interview with you guys. But no, you guys did a great job. I can't believe how tall KJ is. And you guys really did really well. Everything sounded great. I think audio was a big issue for people this year at SDCC, but not for you guys. You guys nailed it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we had to overcome the audio issues we had when we were doing the panel on classified. And they liked
Yes.
hearing that. I didn't get to talk to Emily because she was basically running the show and she wasn't available to talk. But as far as talking to John Warden and Lenny and Tony, they were happy to hear that our panel went great and it was almost a full room at Joe Fest. And I think
Yep.
John and Lenny were even talking about like, why don't we just go? But that's not even up to them. That's just to let you guys know it's like it's way up here. You know what I mean? As far as them ever wanting to do. And I think the thing is if they did Joe Fest, then they'd have to do all the conventions. You can't just do one. If you're Hasbro, how bad does it look if you do one convention, you don't do a bunch of others? You got to play the PR game
Yeah.
as a corporation, and that's
You
kind
got
of
to
the
pick
deal
and
there.
choose. You got to go with the big conventions, and really, you guys did a really nice job. And the banter and the camaraderie back and forth is real, and you can see that you guys have made friends with these guys. And I was lucky enough to sit in on that one interview, and I'm lucky enough to have some conversations in the background and Instagram and stuff like that. But you guys truly showed off your friendship here, which was cool.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I think what was it about is it our fourth interview with them? We did another Comic-Con interview, and I'm just wondering, did we do two others or three others? I think we did. So maybe this was the fourth one. I don't even know, fourth or fifth at this point. But yes, we will talk about that fridge lanyard later in the show. What else we got? Why did y'all get Genghis KJ next to Tony? I just thought it would be funny. Actually, he just stood
Yeah,
there.
there are
There was
so
no.
many. There's a lot of comments on KJ's height.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like Timer Rat and Big Lob. That's amazing. You freaking crushed it. I appreciate everyone watching it. I think it's like the third most watched GI Joe interview, and the other channels have 380K subscribers and 66K. We're under 5 and we're third. So I appreciate you guys checking us out. How do we do this interview next year if all 6 of us go? It's like not going to be possible.
Listen, you're a wrestling fan. We just do a tag team event. Get them in the middle. They'll be the main event, and we tag each other in and out.
Yeah, that's right. For sure. I like that idea. We'll have to figure something out. So this was, and I shout out to the Full Force because they were like, it was a tongue-in-cheek way of saying overkill confirmed. But when you got the 2 designers, right, like on classified, both wish listing this figure, it's gonna happen. I mean, we've gotten everything else that they've like. I think he shout out to Chris Diagnostic 80. He was saying it took 3 years for Road Pig when Lenny mentioned that he wanted Road Pig. So maybe it'll be 3 years from now, but I'd like to think this name only was confirmed, and if it isn't, whatever. But it was a lot of fun to talk to them about it. And but what do you think of Overkill? You think we'll see this or what?
Oh, I absolutely think we'll see it. But my stance. I think the classified has some legs to it. As long as they keep doing like creative, modern interpretations, keep that in the classified line, and then do retro. So you can double dip. You can give people a retro carded overkill like this, where it's kind of ridiculous and it kind of honors what we got the first time. But I really think they'll be creative and they'll come up with something modern that doesn't look like it's going to work. And I think we're probably going to touch on that one character that everybody was like, how is Raptor going to work? And they killed it with that design. So,
yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely good call. I should ask you, how'd you feel about Comic-Con overall, just from home? That was a question I asked the boys that weren't able to attend.
Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of surprises. That biggest surprise being Saturday night had nothing to do with toys, with RDJ. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to make it out there next year. I already have it on the calendar, so I should be good to be out there, and we'll have a blast, man.
And we do have to credit you and Spec and Romo as well. I mean, shout out to Bobby. He wasn't able to get a question in time because he was doing other stuff, but you guys all had questions in our interview. So I thought that was important to, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't like Travis Moody interviewing Lenny and Tony. You know what I mean? We've done that. It was nice to have the whole team, or at least, 5 out of 6 of us interview them. Even though you couldn't be there, it felt like in a totally kind of mood project. So even when I interviewed June in the beginning, he said, "How you guys doing?" And it's just me there, but it was cool. I love that. Instead of like, "Hey Travis, how you doing?" He said, "How you guys doing?" And that, even though I'm there, I felt like we were all there. You know what I mean? That was dope.
Well, what was fun is I got to sit home and see that. You sent it to us in the chat before you put it up, but it was awesome. I'm sitting there as a fan. And I'm going, look at this. And then I hear my name dropped. And I was giddy like a kid. And I was like, look at these guys killing it, man. So you guys did a really nice job. And it's just fun to feel, like a lot of the people that follow us on this channel, you feel like you have a voice. And I think that's what we like to kind of share,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's community, it's family. You know what I mean? It's, I get asked all the time, like, why don't you have because, YouTube, it's mostly like one person. And I was like, because I can't do it by myself. I do a lot of the short content, and it's way more fun. I mean, this is way more fun than me throwing up 10 videos a week or 12 videos a week, like just doing a couple and then talking with my friends. Like, you guys are my brothers and my family, and it's way better. I mean, you have your own channel, Romo has his own channel, so we all have our own shtick. So it's cool we could do that with the reviews, but just doing the podcast every week or when we can is the cream of the crop, man. I wouldn't have
what
it
it equates to. It equates to me like, all right, I have my own channel. That's me playing in my backyard by myself. When we're here, everybody brought their toys and we're hanging out in the backyard having a blast. So
that's what it feels should like. Have been the super chat, because he shout out to Ward Chest Full of Choice. He super chatted us a couple bucks, but this comment should have been the super chat, but I'll still show yours. Ward Chest is here, but I'm moist. That's funny. Yeah, I don't think you and I haven't done a stream together, just you and I, right?
No, not yet.
No.
We are now.
This is a first. We also have someone waiting in the wings, and we'll bring them in just a sec. We got a couple more things to show off. So let's get to it. Let's not hold back. Dark Lawn, there was that crazy gun turret on the musket thing. I guess it was found in a Chinese factory. Break down this Dark Lawn thingamajig.
Now, when I was looking at this, listen, I know the website that it keeps popping up on, and everything has been right so far. But this looks like a kit bash to me. It's the first one that looks like a kit bash, but are we that was the first leak. If you look at the goggles on the top, that was what everybody was figuring was the Retro Viper at first.
Mm-hmm.
If you see, he's got goggles at the top there, and he's got a very Viper-like vest, and then he's got the Viper pants. Is this what everybody thought was the Retro Viper?
Not sure. What does the chat think about this? And then also, it was more about the crazy gun than the actual figure. I mean, is that supposed to be Dark Lawn? No, that's just, I think it's more about the gun, and someone did do a kit bash, right? Or I mean, I don't mean the boots.
I don't know. This is the first one. Anyone that I've seen.
See, it's not Dark Lawn. It's not Dark Lawn, even though some of the pieces are. I think maybe the legs. If you look, I don't even. Even then, I'm not even sure. I mean, we don't know because it's classified. But from the top up, I mean, we haven't seen that vest though, right?
No, I think that looks like a Viper vest.
Viper?
It looks like the new one.
New one.
It kind of looks like the new one.
Yeah. Retro Viper parts holding a Dark Lawn gun. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's the grenades, I guess, that are. at the
Oh, my
top.
bad. Let me get you. Let me get you.
You know what I mean? Like
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
seeing some of that. It's the round grenades.
Yeah.
You're seeing this pattern here. You're seeing some of this pattern from the boots.
Good
So
call. Mhm.
I'm wondering if it's a Viper or some type of kit bash. I don't know what that mask is, but I'm leaning more towards kit
Yeah.
bash for this one, but we'll find out. And I'm be more than happy to say I was wrong.
Yeah, and then Darren says the goggles and vest is are part of the Retro Viper, and Stygian
Yeah.
says the Darkland gun being new, full force mention it would even slot nicely into the second wave of next year.
Yep.
Cool. All right, and then moving on, would you like to see the Evader?
No.
Too cosmic for you?
Yeah, it's like you guys all know, like I like the modern interpretations, but you still kind of hold nostalgia for it, even if they do a modernized version. I have no attachment to this. I believe my younger cousin had this. He had most of the Iron Grenadier stuff, and it was fun to play with, but it didn't feel like something that I would care
Yeah.
for. But you never know. If they update it and it's cool looking, yeah, why not? I'm all in on classified, so
Right. Well, if it fits just like the Robo Skull, if it fits Cosmic Legions, it'll go in that thing, and it'll stay away from my classified fix. Cool. All right. Next up, Patch Adams. Lenny. No, I said I need Hatch. Hey, shout out to the meme gods, Chaz the Guru, Figure God. Just amazing. It was a Patch Mania. We talked about it a lot. I mean, even Bobby has a meme after him. Fuck the patches, fuck them patches, or whatever. Hilarious. I think he talked about it on Geeks Have Game. So they're making Bobby famous, but Lenny got a little bit of meme time this weekend.
Oh yeah, and they had to have seen this coming. They had to have seen that there was going to be backlash for this.
Yeah.
And I even put something out there that it's all in the wording. If they just said, "Hey, if this funds in the first week, this is the early bird special, and if it funds, everybody gets it." You know what I mean? And then just say that you only have 2 tiers, the 2 unlockable figures. It's all in wording. This should not have been called the first tier. This should have just been the early bird special, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about that, and you did a little bit of a little meme of your own. The Cobra Rattler ground attack jacket, attack jet jacket. But yeah, that actually I would want that jacket, like that Super 7 Firefly jacket, but just with all these patches. I'm in. It's so Maverick like.
I don't think there's hate for the patches. I really don't. I think everybody likes the patches. I like the patches. The patches are very cool looking. People hate that it's the first tier. That's what it is.
All right. So Paul, I love this. You didn't watch our 12-minute interview, but you're about to watch a 4-hour stream. So I love you, man, for that. That's incredible. But yeah, it was actually our first question. And I had a pre-conversation with them because if I can, I will, just to make things better. And I didn't bring up the patches. And the first thing we made fun of them because it was a mistake on the HasLab site, and it showed that they had like 290 backers when it was supposed to be like 8,000 or something, right? And I said, oh, it must be the patches. They didn't flinch. So to give them credit, they never got hot. I mean, if it was like a random YouTube channel, which we are, according to some other channels, we are random as fuck. But like it was a random YouTube channel asking them questions, they might have got like weirded out by it, but I guess we kind of got away with it. And we asked right away about the patches, but he gave an explanation. It was, it was a business explanation. I see some comments, people aren't thrilled with it, but good for Lenny for answering, because he could have just said like, he could have, been a dick, which I would have been. If I'm making something and you're making fun of it, I'd be hot. Dude, Lenny and Tony are the nicest guys in the world that we can.
That's what I mean.
It's
that relationship, that camaraderie.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm busting balls of you guys. Like they have a good attitude towards it, and they knew right off the bat. They're like, shit, the patches are pissing people off. They knew that kind of backlash was coming. But again, it's all in the wording. They just needed to word it differently, and people would be thrilled with the patches.
Right. Well, if we don't want to get stuck with just patches, you guys who haven't backed it yet, go get one or two, because we need the Gunner and Baroness, and we're gonna get into all of the Rattler and just a little bit. But actually, I wanted to bring this up, so I'm glad you kind of addressed it. When we read this on Sunday, I thought this was fact, but you were basically saying this is how it should have been. Is that what you meant by it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's all in the wording. So I should have said if it funds, not fully funded, because people consider fully funded as everything unlocked. But if it funds with 9,000 backers, there's an early bird bonus. You get the patches. And if it funds within the first week, everybody gets it. They already did that the first time with the Hiss and with the tech, right? It was the tactician.
Yeah.
Right. And then
Yep.
just say, look, we're only offering 2 tiers this time. Tier 1 is the Cobra Rattler Gunner. Tier 2 is Pilot Baroness. I don't think people get pissed off if there's not 3 or 4 tiers. You want 3 or 4 tiers, but when you start looking at the engineering and the design, I still think the Rattler's a little above price, but we'll get into that somewhere, and that's the offering. So that's what they're offering. If you don't want it, don't get it. I don't know what to tell you. But don't let the patches piss you off that bit.
No. Well, I mean, if you're leaving comments on our stuff about how angry you are about the patches, it's okay. We like that. We like engagement. So we're okay with it. I don't want to keep our guests waiting too much longer, but we got just a couple quick pre-orders to cover. I think I pre-ordered this a couple times because of you.
Oh my God. This was a dream come true for me. I pulled that out of thin air when we did the wish list before SDCC. And I just felt like, hey, we already got the DeLorean. We got the Ecto 1. It's time that they visit KITT and Knight Rider. And lo and behold, this was announced. I was freaking out, man. This is awesome. And it lights up and there's sounds. And the price is actually not bad at all.
$49.99 for a lit up kit. Yeah, I mean, from Agent, Knight Rider, Agent Knight, Autobot. Man, this was awesome. I've never been like a super Knight Rider person, but I remember when the Maverick crossover came out and I like slept on it and then it sold out. And then it came out in a different packaging and it was like easy to get. I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to pre-order this. And then it sold out on Pulse, but did it sell out on any other retailers? Do you know?
KITT? Or are we going back?
You don't have to look it up. If anybody in the chat knows if this sold out on like Amazon or
I feel like it's sold out on Amazon, but it seems like Big Bad Toy Store, and if it's at Entertainment Earth, they usually have a bigger pre-order window.
That's true.
So you might luck out there if you missed it, but I'm super excited to get this. I can't wait.
Does it come with an O-ring Hoff with a cheeseburger? Unfortunately, no. Amazon still has it up. So yeah, I might end up having but it's one of those things where like the pre-orders are forever, but once they start shipping, it sells out. It's probably going to be one of those. Anything Transformers that's popular is usually pretty crazy. All right, next one. Oh, that's just a look at the Knight Rider kit. And then there we go, right there. So there's some comparisons, man. How you liking the resemblance? You think it's pretty good?
I think they nailed it. It's very similar to the DeLorean, and as far as it feels like something that we would have gotten in the 80s. It feels like a G1 version, and I think it's great. I'm super excited. So yeah, we don't need the Hoff with it. We know what it is.
Yeah,
but if they did an O-ring of Hoff, I would freak out.
Wow. I don't know what to make of this comment. I've met Tony's mom, and she's an amazing woman. Spec, you're on banishment for 3 months. You're like, oh,
you're on thin ice, Spec.
Yeah, you're on thin ice, pal. All right, so
you never go full spec.
I never go full spec. Obviously, we're talking about the crossover episode tonight, so it only makes sense to talk about Kup. the Triple T Kup. Your take?
Well, I think Sergeant Slaughter slipped on this a few months back. We knew it was coming, and I am just so impressed with the engineering these days that they can make it look like the original toy scale wise, and that it transforms, and it still has the same functionality that we had as a kid. It's so impressive to me. I'm not that smart, so I don't know how these guys do it. But this is cool. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, and then we got.
But where's Optimus? Are we going to get Optimus?
You mean Optimus G.I. Joe crossover?
Yeah, I mean, we got Megatron, and now we've gotten Bumblebee.
Soundwave.
Are we going to
Dreadnought?
Yeah, Soundwave. Yep. They're right behind me, so I'm not sure why I'm struggling.
Yeah,
but
my problem with this stuff, and I just don't have, like, even on I have a dedicated Transformers 86 Studio Series, and there's no room for this. And then there's no room for where I put my 112 scale vehicles now. That Sky Striker is gonna have to go back in the box. Like, I like these, but they do wind up on sale. Yeah, and I hate saying that because we love the people who put these stuff together. Mark and B-Mac, they're all good guys, but it's like they just do. I mean, the Stalker Bumblebee, I got it like dirt cheap, and I haven't opened it yet. The Baroness Megatron, I messed with once. I think they're amazing. Is just lack of space and lack of room. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm laughing at some of these comments. Two Marines and one Kup.
Yeah, let's check the comments, guys. Our guest actually said that she's on hold, so let's see what's up. Okay, well, maybe not after all. Optimus is next. Optimus Mobat is supposed to be the next release.
Oh.
There you go. Optimus Mobat with Hawk is rumored.
Well, there you go. Let's get her done.
Let's get her done. All right, cool. And there's just a comparison of the Kup. And then what else we got? Oh, yeah, one more. And then there's a look at...
I think it's great.
Yeah, there's a comparison. So you got 3D Joes. Look how close that is. I mean, it's pretty much essentially 1-to-1.
Well, I have my original Triple T. So when I get this, I'll compare. I have my original Thunder Machine, and eventually I'll open that Soundwave up and compare it. But they're all very close in size, and it's unbelievable to me. I think it's really impressive. Somebody said, I think it was Ken Best in the chat, what a time to be alive. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we dreamt of as kids, right? Crossovers, how cool it would be.
If we didn't have...
Yes, I agree, KJ. We need an A-Team Transformers collaboration.
Yep. 100%. I was just going to say, if we didn't have G.I. Joe Classified, man, like, well, we wouldn't have a YouTube channel, and maybe I wouldn't be as much into toys, but this would be like my dream line. But because I just don't have room, and now I'm so like involved in everything 112 scale, it's like I admire it, and I'm eventually going to get it, but it just personally, it's not like anything. Like, I just don't know where to put the stuff. You know what I mean?
I hold a place in my heart for these O-rings, and I think it's really neat. I like that we're getting product like Skeletron, Operation Recall, where they're kind of moving O-rings forward, but they still feel like O-rings. You know what I mean?
For sure.
They're not
Delta 17. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
100%. All right. So, I think it's time to bring in our guest right now. And so, but before that, she's got her own file card. It's Diana Davis. Look, what is up with this file card? Let's ask her. How are you, Diana?
Excellent. How are you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Oh, yeah. Isn't that it? We didn't do a sound check, and you sound nice and clear. We got to meet finally. We don't even live far. We haven't lived far in a long time, but we finally got to meet at ComicCon, and you were in the Energon panel and the G.I. Joe panel, so it was great to finally say hello.
Yeah, it was good to see you in person. It's amazing to get into those panels because the line was down the hall for both of them. Oh my God. The Kirkman panel too.
I think the Energon panel was harder to get in. I actually got in only because of Skybound. I was not going to get in to that panel, and then the GI Joe panel was crazy as well.
Yeah.
And I got lucky with shout out to K Wish, who was on the GHG debut episode. He happened to be first in line. Hasbro PR was nowhere to be found. I was told to meet somebody. They were nowhere to be found, and I saw my roommate. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to cut 10,000 people because my ex roommate is at the top of the line. So that's gonna happen. But Diana, did you have a great Comic-Con?
It was a fantastic Comic-Con. The weather was perfect. The con was exciting and lots of fun. Oh, hey, Paul. A Pure Soul 81. It was great. This is my second time going as professional, and that doesn't make anything easier beyond I don't have to pay. But I really enjoyed going. We got an Airbnb up in Little Italy. Little Italy is fantastic. There's all sorts of food within walking distance. Oh my God. We just rode the trolley. And I hooked up with a ton of really amazing people. I mean, we had Phil from Articulated Points with us, and it was just, you know, bless Phil, because that's why you got the live stream of the Hasbro panel.
They gotta give him double credit here. So first, for the GI Joe Hasbro panel, he did a tremendous job. We tried. That's all I'm gonna say. But we probably shouldn't step in Articulated Points wheelhouse when it comes to streaming live panels. He did it like a pro, and also he took some great pictures that we're going to use. We got them all watermarked for Articulated Points. Where I was able to take some photos in the panel, but it was also like editing something at the same time. It's just kind of how the Comic-Con was. But shout to Philip Donnelly, Articulate Points, and not Picard, Baldy. We got to meet him at Joe Fest.
Yeah, they're both amazing guys. Amazing guys. And Phil took pictures of everything.
Diana, this is my first time meeting you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Doing great.
That's
just
awesome.
Was looking over
you maybe know me in. I'm sorry. You probably know me in the Facebook groups. I'm Zen.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, really cool. Am I not allowed to swear? That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, good. Stygian 360, I like your kitty.
Oh no, that's funny. She's the Primo Duke fan.
Awesome.
That's
yeah,
right.
like see that guy back there. And then that one is actually by Russ Heath. We took Russ for lunch, and we got all sorts of I could spin the camera, but I don't want to pick up my computer.
Well, I'll just ask you, how did your obsession with Conrad Hauser start?
It started with the first cartoon miniseries. I think as a little girl, I didn't have a brother. And sisters is a kind of different relationship. But all the older brothers of friends and family that I met were really protective and kind and awesome. You know, I had older brothers. My sister would go out play with the younger brother. And the older brothers would be like, no, I'm going to take you and I'm going to keep you busy all day. So it's kind of that thing. When you saw that first miniseries, oh yeah, that's the older brother, right? He's everyone's older brother. He makes sure you're doing good. He checks in on you. If something's wrong, he takes care of it. And I think that's what happened. I also liked, when I was really little, I liked a TV show called The Puppy's New Adventures or something. And Michael Bell played a dog known as Duke. And so when I saw the miniseries, and there's this guy named Duke who sounds exactly the same, well, that's natural, right? Natural. You're not a golden retriever, but you're blonde, so that's okay.
So it was just meant to be. And I love that you have your title there, because when I was talking to Baldy about what exactly you do with G.I. Joe Comics, and it was with IDW and now with Skybound, part of Image, creative consultant. Can you kind of explain exactly what you do with G.I. Joe Comics and what you've done?
Well, it started out as researcher or something, and then Tom Waltz promoted me to research specialist, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm now a specialist. And then when I moved over to IDW, Alexandra was like, no, you're creative consultant. And he's like, that's the best title you've had. And it really is. It's kind of nice. So what I do, I was brought into IDW to help with Larry, because he's written G.I. Joe for 40 years. There's like 300 something characters. It stopped for a good chunk in the middle. If you expect Larry Hama to be able to remember every single thing he did over those 40 years, you know, he's had other jobs, guys. He still has other jobs. He does multiple jobs. Oh, that's so nice. He does other jobs. So, oh, yeah, right. That was a really fun show. And so during this time, he might have forgotten who he killed and who he didn't. Because you got to remember, when he was doing Marvel, he wrote based upon what Hasbro wanted him to do. So if a toy was going off the shelves, we got to figure out how to get rid of them. It was him who was like, well, can I kill them off? Because that makes the most sense. And he did it, but he doesn't always remember. So I guess Tom Waltz asked him if there was someone who could help, and he gave him my name. That's what Tom told me, is Larry asked for me. Wow, that's the best moment of being a fan for 40 years, right? It's a dream. It's the best moment when somebody actually emails you.
And look at the comment, Diana living the dream, right?
I'm
when you
living
said
the
that.
dream.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Living the
Good to
dream.
hear.
So I make sure things are going well in continuity. I help new artists with characters they might not know, which is more and more difficult because as ARAH has continued for like ever and ever and ever, but the alternate universes, there's been so many of them. So for a new artist that doesn't know the brand, it's hard to pick out what is the model they should be using for the character, or what is the file card they should be using for the bio that might be included in the comic, or what version they should be using in the comic that Larry's writing. And that's really hard for new artists and new editors and new inkers and everyone. So I kind of make sure that that's okay. And I have all these great, oh yeah, the Solve It. That was the best run of the Marvel comics. Shit, that was awesome. But I still miss Doc. That was the hardest death to watch. Was Doc being shot through the friggin' face. But that's what I do. And it really got important when we crossed over.
There you go. Doc's back.
I know.
He's my second favorite Joe, and that figure was so awesome. I also like the Ultimates Doc. That figure is also really awesome because Doc is amazing.
Hey, Diana, what did you think when the classified team finally showed us Doc, and then they name dropped the Saw Viper the same day?
Oh, that was a cringy kind of sad moment. It was so many sads all at once. Yeah. But if you're gonna do Doc, I guess you kind of have to bring in the Saw Viper, maybe.
I guess, but so soon. He wasn't even in our hands yet when
a little
they did
too
that.
soon, right?
Like, what are you guys doing?
And I hope that when they do the Saw Viper, they don't actually do that kind of photo for the. That would be bad. I hope no one does that.
That would be a little edgy.
You got a question?
Probably not going to go into the comic right now. What Larry is doing is he uses a lot of V1 characters because that's kind of what he prefers. A lot of the V2s. I mean, he uses V2 Hawk, but once you get to V3 and everything gets sort of Dayglow, he's not necessarily a fan of that, I think. But what he does do is he has Carson's posters up on his wall, and he has Bellomo's guide. So what he likes to do is he's got his main core characters, right? But he'll look through the Bellomo guide or just turn to Carson's posters and like, that would be cool. I want to include that because some kid who's an adult now loved that toy. So I'm going to put them in there and I shove them in. So of course, then I have to get that for the artists. But I think that's cool. Like there was a kid who loved every single toy ever made. So the fact that he wants to cycle through and pop them in there, that's amazing.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just make sure dead men aren't walking, and I make sure that they're not going to use alternate universe, say mainframe, when it should be actual mainframe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How deep do you think the Energon universe will go with those different versions of characters?
They're willing to go super deep. Their main influence is the ARH comic from the 80s, but also they're way into the Sunbow show. Not so much DIC. So they're bringing in a lot of that. That's why you see a lot of Cobra Law. And I think Cobra Law kind of makes sense in terms of the Energon universe. Buzz Dixon always said that originally he felt that Cobra Law were actually aliens who came to Earth long, long ago, around dinosaur times. And then as humans evolved, they were kind of shocked by this weird non-living technology, right? Because they were all biotech, which kind of makes sense. Biotech is fascinating and has driven us a long way. And they didn't abandon it. They embraced it. So I think having Cobra Law makes a hell of a lot of sense when you've got Transformer aliens, you've got Void Rival aliens, and you've got G.I. Joe, just combining that all together. That helps a bridge between G.I. Joe and some of the more fantastic aspects.
And it also helps that I'll get to Baldy in one sec. Also helps that every comment on Facebook is like, oh, when does Once a Man Cobra Commander go on pre-order? And he's the bridge to the Cobra Law thing. So, and Serpentor and all that did really well as an exclusive as well. But go ahead, Baldy. Sorry.
So Diane, I've been a fan of yours, and I think it's great that you get to do this and really kind of help the stories along. With your fascination of Duke, or at least your love of Duke, how do you feel they did? Did you like what the direction that they took Duke in the Energon universe and the Duke miniseries?
Love it. And when I heard they were doing a Duke comic, which I knew months, half a year before they were doing it, I kept put me on it. But they actually sort of kind of kept me away from that one. I'm purely a real American hero. And I can sort of see why they did it, but they knocked that comic out of the park. It's a different Duke. It's not ARH Duke. It's not Sunbow Duke. It's more Sunbow Duke than others. But they took the essence of the character and they did amazing things with it. And I really, that comic was fantastic. And I keep thanking them every time I see them.
Yeah, had I known you were coming on, that still would be the first question I'd ask you, because I know that you're a fan of Duke, and I absolutely love the direction that they took Duke in this. And, a lot of people think, like what you were saying, he was the older brother. He was the one always checking in on everybody. And in the 80s, people started to think like that was a Boy Scout, or why the popularity of Superman shot down in the 90s because he was too much of a Boy Scout. I really like how they kind of reinvented Duke in this Energon universe, and I feel like he's a little more relatable. Would you say the same?
Yeah, I think he is. I utterly believe it's completely within the whole Duke character that you break him down and build him back up. Because that happens in real life. The best people have suffered multiple failures and questions of faith. That's how you get stronger. You don't get stronger if you don't question things. So I think that's completely, I wrote horrible fan fiction, which a lot of it I've taken down just so that, it doesn't clash with what my Hasbro Skybound job is. But that's a major thing of any character. If any hero arc, you have to have this questioning of faith.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with a Mary Sue. And
Absolutely.
so the Duke book goes completely along with what I thought the character would go through in life.
Yeah, and I think they handled it so well that I was, I'll be honest, I was not that interested in getting Duke, and Duke ended up so far being the best written thing that I've read in the last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Larry's going kind of that way as well. He did it in IDW. He when Snake Eyes died, and there was Shannon Gallant drew that, like, Duke looked over at Scarlet. Then everyone went, oh my God, what's going to happen? And of course, then Larry's like, look, here's Claire Hauser. He's married to this other person, has been for a long time. But it worked. And the fact that in the ARH comic, he had that challenge no one knew about that must have been eating him forever and ever and ever. And yet he still did his job, even though his wife had been basically kidnapped and kept away from him forever, and he didn't know whether she was alive or dead. So bringing that out is like the ARH questioning of faith kind of thing. Like, to be able to continue with what you know you need to do, even though this horrific thing has happened to your family, it works out. And so it makes the character richer. I don't like characters that have not ever had to question faith or look at themselves. The best ones always have, because the best people always have. It's completely relatable, like you said. Every man, every woman in this world has come across multiple times when they question, did I really do that well? And did I fuck up? And sometimes you did. And how do I respond to that? Boom. It makes for a richer comic. I know there are some people who are really angry about that. I mean, I had some guy telling me, I hate that they made Denim a drunk failure. Nobody who's been a real success has ever been perfect all the way through. Even the ones you think are perfect all the way through have probably had some really serious issues with mental health, with, what is it called, imposter syndrome. So it just knocks it out of the park when they do it to any character. Because it's real, and that's what's make it. I want my characters to be human. Yeah,
and they nailed it. And I was really curious what your thoughts were, so I appreciate you kind of giving us your, what you've seen from it.
Yeah,
so that's really cool.
I wrote them a letter at the close long after it was able to be put in the comic, just because I wanted them to know, you guys did a great job. Of all the non-ARH universes, even with Cobra Commander too, that book is sick. That's in a good way. It's amazing. I mean, I like the horror in it too. But both of those books were the best way to go. And I'm glad they started with miniseries rather than diving right into the mainline comic.
Right. Well, that was going to be one of my questions. But I got a quick two-parter about Duke. We see this Duke on the screen, and of course we see in the comments Scruffy Duke. First question, though, is based on Scruffy Duke and I guess Chris Hemsworth is tied to the movie. I don't want to get into this whole big movie thing, but just a quick kind of answer. Could you see Chris playing Duke? I think Baldy and I agreed that Chuckles would have been better, but then now when you think about the Scruffy Duke from the miniseries, he seems to fit. Do you agree with that?
I think he fits perfectly. In fact, I 100% believe, because we know he auditioned for the first G.I. Joe movie, I 100% believe that he auditioned for Duke. What other character would he audition for? And they didn't choose him because he wasn't famous, which that's a shame, because if you've watched Extraction.
Yep.
Damn it. Extraction is the best G.I. Joe movie ever made.
Extraction 2 is insane. I saw that on the plane to Joe Fest.
They're both. I just think that it's Duke and it's good. That works.
Cool. Perfect. And then as far as what we see on the screen, he's a little more clean cut here on the G.I. Joe, but there's still that. How do you feel about that? Because he's kind of losing what made him a little bit different, no?
A little, but they've got the main elements there. I mean, they did the Scruffy Duke because that was his questioning of faith, so he sort of let himself go a bit, right? So we know that he's hitting bottom, right? So now he's back and he's, cut his hair, got a little new uniform. They have the basic elements there. So they have the nice little buzz cut there with short back and sides kind of thing going on. They have a bandolier, right? They put that in. They have the basic colors there. I think it works. They have to make sure this is not a real American hero. This is the Energon Universe, but it's still Duke.
Yeah, and it's got the subtle nods to the past, and that's great. Yep,
it's a good design.
And then this question right here, we can see on the screen.
No, because you have to understand that the cartoon, comic, and toys are 3 different universes, and this is straight from Kirk Bazigian. Okay, the toys are not the comic or the toon. The toon is not the comic, but it's based on the toys that they saw. So in the cartoon, there was sort of a hint of it in the first miniseries, but then no, because Snake Eyes is not real American hero Snake Eyes. He's a completely different person. Duke has elements of Duke, just like Snake Eyes has all the honor and amazing fighting power. And Scarlet is not the same Scarlet. Scarlet in the comic is kind of like Larry Hama's wife in a way. And Larry is both Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in my mind. He's both of them. That's the whole yin yang. That's the whole point. They're not opposites. They're two sides of the same coin. So it makes sense that both of them are kind of Larry.
Well, can I follow up with a question here?
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
So in your mind, who is with Scarlet? Is it Snake Eyes or Duke?
Oh, for me, it depends upon the universe. Like when we did the Saturday Morning Adventures comic, which was amazing, that would have been Duke with Scarlet. If it's a real American hero, that's Larry's story. So it's Scarlet and Snake Eyes. I don't know what Energon Universe is doing. The Scarlet author is a fan of Scarlet Snake Eyes, but I honestly don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do with that because Snake Eyes isn't coming along in the Energon Universe for a long time, and Scarlet will be introduced not in the first couple issues. They want to take their time with that. And you got to understand, they've planned this, the basic elements of the story, they've planned a long way out. They have to. That's how you do good comics. You set that framework up. So Scarlet won't be in there for a bit.
Okay.
Snake Eyes won't be there in a bit.
I feel like the best kind of mixture of the two, it would be Resolute. I feel like they kind of hinted at both the comic book run and at the Sunbow cartoon, and they kind of handled it really well.
They did. That makes sense the way they. I love Resolute. That was like really awesome animation, and it's a shame that the writer got himself into such a huge mess of trouble. But it was really well written. It was written for adult collectors and fans. It should have been continued. It would have been a great series. I wish they'd pick it up. They'll never pick it up with the same guy. Oh well. But I'd hope the Energon Universe sort of does something similar. But I have no influence or say on that book. They're doing what they're doing, and they're really solid fans. Obviously, look what they've done so far.
Yeah.
They're really solid fans.
Cool. So this is what we're going to do. I want to let the chat know that we are covering G.I. Joe Classified. I see there was scattered comments. I am saving them. We're going to talk about the Rattler. We're going to talk about the figures. Right now, we're going to run through the Energon Universe, more of a speed round. We have a lot of slides, but I'll just go through them quickly, Diana, and then you can kind of just maybe just give us a quick bit on that. And then Baldy, you can definitely jump in and hop in. Do want to give a shout out to Comic Book Keepers, Philip Donnelly, of course, from Articulated Points. Some of these images are from them. And then also Articulated Points, it's at Articulated PTS on X. He did a great job doing a breakdown of the Energon panel with like little descriptions. So we got some of the info from that. So shout out to Phil on that one. So here we go with Void Rivals. It goes gold, which is just insane nowadays to sell basically 10 different versions of the same comic. So just a quick comment on, I'll scan through these images of Void Rivals, but just how you feel Void Rivals fits in with what's going on with G.I. Joe and Transformers.
It's like the linchpin of the whole series. It's really good too. If you haven't picked up Void Rivals, I recommend starting from the beginning. And it will evolve more and more, but it's well written. It's beautiful. It sort of ties everything together. And I think as we go on, it's going to become more important. And we have to understand, Void Rivals was created by Skybound, but it's actually owned by Hasbro. Okay?
Interesting.
And if you look at the all the notes inside the front page, Void Rivals is owned by Hasbro. It was like a gift almost, and Hasbro should be like, thank you, because you have created this great book for us to tie all these different licenses together. I love the book. I'm excited to see Pythona in the book. I'm excited to see how Void Rivals becomes more and more important. It's a great book. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, as we could see on the right, we got Pythona, and we also have Transformers involved in different things. And I think even Kirkman laughed that this was his chance to just write a Transformers book. But then also, it's almost like a Cobra La book in the same, just like Cobra Commander was. Baldy, you got a follow up on Void Rivals at all?
I'm just surprised just how well it kind of ties things together for an IP or a property that people aren't familiar with. So it's kind of neat how it's kind of, I think it might be the glue to the Energon universe. And if you're missing out on it, you really should give it a chance. But I'm assuming a lot of people have given it a chance if it's gone gold. So
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's
not
impressive.
insane.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, a lot of comic shops had no idea what it was, so they didn't order it. And that sucker sold out so fast that those who hadn't ordered enough were like, oh my God, what did I miss? You got if it's a Robert Kirkman thing and it's tied to a known license, you should probably buy it. Even if it's not tied to a known license, like buy it. Kirkman's amazing.
Right. He's amazing. And then just look at this. I mean, we're getting Pythona and Hot Rod Optimus. It's crazy that we're getting these characters in this book. So it's kind of brilliant. He did his own thing with his own story. And it's a little like, it takes a few rereads to kind of dig into what exactly is going on. But then after a while, you're like, holy crap, this is setting up something special.
Yeah, and the characters are really engaging. And the universe he's created for Void Rivals is really nice. And it, like you said, it's the glue, it's the linchpin. It ties everything together. It's kind of the axle that the wheel spins on. And I think that's going to come more into play.
Yeah. If you're going to read anything, it's going to be this series for sure.
Reading
and if you guys have, oh God, so sorry.
No, I was going to say reading is power. Just do it.
Exactly. If you have questions for Diana, I am saving them, by the way. I'm not ignoring you guys, but we're just kind of running through these slides so we can get going on the show. Baldy, are you reading the Energon Transformers at all?
Yes, I am actually. So I'm probably a little bit behind. But so far, like, I love the way that they introduced the Transformers. I love the way that they tied it into Duke initially. And then just it's been a fun read. So yes, and it's brutal too. Surprisingly brutal and beautifully done. I thought the way they kind of humanized the Transformers. Do you guys remember that scene early on? I don't think this is a spoiler in any way, but when Optimus steps on the deer and he just realizes, wow, this is a fragile planet. Yeah. We need to protect this. We need to do everything that we can. And when they did that, I was like, wow, okay, wow. Like I'm almost empathizing with this giant robot, and it was really, really well done. And the series kind of just blossomed from there.
Mm-hmm. And we can't do the show, a toy show, without talking about some of these designs, and then also asking Diana, like, maybe do you have a favorite design for the G.I. Joe Energon universe, and which ones would you like to see in classified?
Oof, I would like to see Scruffy Duke, but I don't think we're going to get that. Scruffy Duke is amazing. I kind of like their version of what's his name? Sorry, 2 glasses of wine in. I like their version of shit. Oh well, I'll remember his name when I'm not thinking about it. I also think that I would like a toy of Risk very quickly. I think we'll see Risk before we see Dawn, unfortunately. But the Hasbro team works very closely with the Energon Universe team, and they take cues from each other. So whatever you see will probably end up a toy before you see Dawn Moreno.
Oh,
Really?
I think so.
That's somewhat tragic. We got
But
a
it's like,
comment here. Go ahead.
oh, the red and black female Cobra. I forget her name at this time, but she's a new character. You notice how she's right next to Baroness. I'm interested to see what that happens, since Baroness right now is a Joe, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. Again, I'm not on that book, so anything I say is pure conjecture, but I would be interested to see how those characters change over the series.
Right. And I do want to just remind people that G.I. Joe #1, this is a wraparound cover. It launches November 13th. Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, Jordi Villar. Of course, that you're talking about Risk is the first new Joe character in the Energon verse. I guess according to the notes from Articulated Points in the panel, he was a cage fighter who comes from a rich family and lives on the edge. So shout out to Philip for that information. I saw some comments saying like, should the comic have been called G.I. Joe Classified, or are you okay with G.I. Joe, or
I think
you don't want
G.I.
it too
Joe.
on the nose, right?
I think G.I. Joe is better because that does give them a little freedom. We don't want them locked into classified completely, because then we get back to the situation we had at the end of the Marvel run where you need to use these characters and make it make sense. And Barry would be like, how the hell do I make that make sense? Because these characters are silly. I don't want that to happen again.
And there you go. You got a question. The ash can we got is that the pages and preview.
Yeah, those are going to be the first few pages. I got that one.
You got them all.
I did. I ended up in so many panels that people just handed me stuff, and then luckily my editor handed me more. Those are going to be the first few pages of the issue #1. There's no dialogue in there, of course, because it might not have been lettered yet, but either way, they're not going to include the dialogue because they don't want you to know too much. Chameleon?
So she's not Chameleon.
I'm not sure. I'm not on that book. I don't think so.
Yes.
She could be, but Chameleon usually looks almost exactly like Baroness. Of course, I could just pop open the book and see what's going on with that. Hold on.
I'm just waiting for Tony to create that figure.
All right. A custom of possibly Chameleon. She looks great, and she's going to be an amazing figure. Risk is so different than every other classified figure. He'd really stand out.
He's not in that suit all the time, but I like the suit. He reminds me of, if you've read mystery novels, do you know who Joe Leaphorn is? Great mystery novels. Tony Hillerman, something like that, writes these great mystery novels about a Native American sheriff who solves crimes on the reservation, and it's really fantastic. And he just sort of has that Leaphorn vibe to him. And apparently, Risk does not get along with all the Joes, so
nice.
Not such a good thing.
We got his tank, his tank variant, Cover Girl, and then here are some of the character designs. Baldy, what do you think of these designs for a classified?
I like it. So I do like how I keep going back to the Duke miniseries, but I like how they worked in the classified designs for like Rock and Roll Clutch. So I would think that they're hinting at giving us Scruffy Duke. But Diana, I want to ask you here, like I'm looking at Destro, and we could get all sorts of variations of Destro. So Loafer Destro, that would be fantastic. But when you're looking at Cover Girl, is she a short, like auburn-haired woman, or is she the blonde with long hair?
She's a model. She dyes her hair. She cuts her hair. She does whatever she likes to suit her look. I've dyed my hair, or I go out in the sun and get it lightened. She's a woman who used to be a model. She's probably depending upon how she feels. Right now, she's got more of the blonde locks, but another couple weeks, maybe she's like, no, damn it, I want to be auburn.
Okay. I like that. So you're saying she could kind of fit into where the story takes her. Yeah, I mean, I can't grow hair, so I would probably just relate a little bit more with Destro. But yeah, So I got what you're saying. So she could be where she needs to be.
Right. She's a model. She does this all the time. She's used to it. I'm surprised Lady J and Scarlet. I mean, Scarlet's had a couple different haircuts. Lady J seems to look like Mary McDonald Lewis all the time, which I think is amazing, and I'm 100% behind it. But it makes perfect sense to me that a woman would change her hair color and style when she felt like it.
Okay.
I do it.
I think the Baroness figure is the likely first one to come out because it's just the easiest for them to do, and because she's a Joe in this, technically it would get a response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Crimson Twins look the same, right? Kind of. I'm sure
Basically,
technically they don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Cobra Commander is another easy one for them to do, and it's different. It's a nice repaint.
Yeah, it's just, a couple of changes in the jacket and maybe a slightly smaller head from the look of that picture, but it's not too hard. I dig it. If they can do once a man commander, this character I like, and I would like to see him in the outfit on the right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with you there, or at least the option to switch between those outfits.
And I'm going to guess that eagle is a tattoo he has on his back since he's a cage fighter. I'm hoping. I think that would be awesome.
That's cool. A good call. That's a good call there. Someone asked in the chat who that character was in the suit, and it's Risk. Is David Speck answer that? Yeah, right here. See, I guess you missed the comment. But yeah, who is he? He's Risk, and we broke it down. He was a cage fighter who came for money, and he's got an attitude problem. So, but he's cool because he's unique. You know what I mean? So even his backstory is unique too. And then actually, before we get to a real American hero, do you think we'll see, or if obviously you can't say and all this, but do you think we'll see more Joe miniseries? And but should they continue?
Like the different characters, like Duke, Cobra Commander,
Destro, Scarlet,
Destro.
Yeah.
We originally weren't going to get Destro, and then that came in. I think that was a great idea. I think it's a good balance. I think they're just going to go right into G.I. Joe. I think the first 4 miniseries were more to bring people into the Energon Universe, and it makes great sense to do these couple of 5-issue comics because then you can just see how fans are reacting to the style that Josh Williamson is doing. And freaking awesome. I think it was a good move, but I'm not sure we're going to get more miniseries. I'm interested to see where Scarlet's miniseries ends up because I want to see where she gets into the mainline book. People are wondering about a Snake Eyes miniseries, but I'm not sure they're going to do it because, Snake Eyes is very dominant in Real American Hero and one of the basically the main character of the book. That's how Larry sees it. And it makes sense because it's all sort of seen through Snake Eyes' eyes, even when he's dead. No windmill. No skid mark. Sorry. Well, skid mark would be interesting.
You know what I thought was interesting early on is in Transformers, and I won't ruin it for anybody, but they killed some characters off pretty quickly. They did it in Duke as well. I would have no problem of having no Snake Eyes in the Energon Universe. And
I would, yeah. I would wonder.
Him in. That would be interesting.
Yeah, with Scarlet, they're going hard into the Arashikage.
Yes.
Within the first couple of issues. But it would definitely be a way to divide this book from Real American Hero. It might be refreshing to some fans. He should still be a badass ninja. But if he's a man of mystery, maybe he should remain a man of mystery that we see every so often and still remains mysterious because we know a lot about Snake Eyes in A Real American Hero since he's the main character in Larry's mind of the book. And he's a cool character and it's an amazing arc. But yeah. Maybe Energon Universe Snake Eyes wants to be super mysterious so that we don't know absolutely everything about him.
or utilized less. I would like to see that kind of like storytelling where you're not kind of if you saw Deadpool, we got your anchor being, which is Wolverine, right? So you got Wolverine, you got Batman. They're constantly used, and in the G.I. Joe universe, you have Snake Eyes. It would be great to go off the merit of the other characters and see where the story goes.
Yeah. Also, there's a danger if you make Snake Eyes the mainline character. It's very easy to slip in. Because how do you make Snake Eyes? If you make him too different from a real American hero, people will complain. Because they're used to Snake Eyes being Snake Eyes. Look what happened with the movie. If you make him too different from a real American hero, people go bananas. That's not Snake Eyes. So
that's not my Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
that's not my Duke. That's not. Yeah.
By the way, if you think of the movie as like an episode of the Sunbow cartoon, makes total sense. Makes 100, even the giant snakes make sense there. It's Sunbow. Good, done. But it's really hard if you make Snake Eyes a mainline, always there character to delineate yourself from a real American hero. And I know they want to do that because they want to give Larry his book to keep going. They don't want to infringe on that.
Can I read this one? I'll read this one. Because I feel like King APE is... and if I said it wrong, King Ape. But I feel like somebody's saying Baldy's right. Snake Eyes is so large of a character. If you leave him out of the EU, it makes room for some other G.I. Joe characters to flourish. And that's really the point that I'm making. There's so many great characters. And we're not going to get a one-shot like we did. Like, I would love to see a one-shot of Roadblock. But I'd also like to see a modern interpretation of, and I keep saying this, Dial Tone, the female version that came out of Resolute. I think that could make a fun miniseries. And we've already gotten Chuckles in the IDW. So there's so many characters to pull from that you shouldn't always have to lean on that anchor being.
Yeah. It makes sense. To have him be external and maybe miniseries and that, then he can be an ultimate weapon. Like, when you're playing video games and you call down that huge fight move, rockets, whatever. Michael Jackson makes everyone dance. Yeah. So then you call Snake Eyes in when the shit goes bad.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom,
Which
ninja.
What Darren said. Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
It makes total sense.
I like that, but just cutting back to classified, of course, to what we do here. But like, I shout out to our friend Chris, Diagnostic 80. He said that he thought it would be cool to have one Energon type, like packaging or character in a wave. So that way, it's like people that don't read the comics or whatever aren't forced. Like, I know a lot of people are all in on classified, but you don't want like another movie wave where people are skipping it or whatever. What do you think of that idea? Like, maybe just a one-off or one per wave? Like, how would, and this is a question for both of you. We'll start with Diana, but how would you do this whole Energon and classified thing? From a business perspective.
From a business perspective, I would find the most exciting new character in the book and make a figure of that. I would definitely make figures of Scruffy Duke. That's just because I want it. I mean, I can do it myself, but my eyeballs aren't what they used to be when I could paint eyes on a Games Workshop figure. Can't do that anymore. I just think that they're already there. They're already working so closely, more closely than they've let us know, that you're going to see. I don't know about the Baroness. That would be a big leap for them. But you're going to see Risk because he's all new and you're not changing any pre-existing thing. He's an all new character. He's in the book. The book will probably sell well. I think Destro in the suit might be some sort of convention special. I like it better than Prophet Director Destro because it's a little calmer. Arthur Burkhart freaked out about Pimp Daddy Destro, and I'm not shocked. Being asked to play pimps for that long in his career got tiring. And so when the one character he really loved in the cartoon, who he thought was very noble, and then now Pimp Daddy Destro, and he's like, oh, fuck that shit, no. So I think the suit is a better way to go. I'd like to see Mercer in his new garb. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's a popular.
swaps.
That's
Yeah.
a popular one too. Just real quick, Stanley has isn't the Walmart Cobra side. So that's the thing. They're doing Energon and these exclusives for Night Force and whatnot. Do you think that has any relevance on the Energon side of it with Skybound, or is this just two different things? Or
How many Energon crystals have we seen in the back of package art? I mean,
a
bit.
lot, and
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean that for sure, but I meant like almost from a business perspective. Like, like you said, convention exclusive. I always think like of Pulse, because if it's comic book, I'm like, what do they do? Those shattered glass ones, right? From Transformers. So I'm thinking like, I don't know if you go mainline retail or even retail exclusive with something that's from a comic. As popular as Skybound is, we saw the line, right? I just don't know if they want to be cautious with this because of what happened with Snake Eyes, the movie.
I would be, but you have to admit Energon Universe is already more successful than the Snake Eyes movie has been with old fans and new.
Awesome.
So there's
Awesome.
they have a little more power with that.
Yeah,
and it's good that the character's already tested. I think from a business perspective, they're going to do a wait and see. They want to see how these characters do in the mainline book, but they've already interacted quite a bit. Otherwise, the Energon Universe characters would look so close to classified. And they just do.
Yep. So look, we got a few more minutes to talk comics. We got some saved comments, and then we'll talk about Real American Hero, the new solicits that just came out. Let's see what we got here. I'll just ask you guys this. Did any Comic-Con interviews ask why I didn't get to watch? I didn't see Pixel Dan. Shout out to Toy News International, JC, good dude. I saw his. But why is Pythona missing? Maybe Diana, you have a hunch as to why Python is missing from the Once a Man box art?
Because they were selling a Cobra Commander figure and not a Pythona.
But it's got Globulus and Falcon.
Well, Globulus and Falcon sort of place it in because there's kind of those scenes at the end where Globulus is trying to break Falcon's neck. They may be planning a Pythona figure, which would make huge sense with the Energon Universe. And so leave that off. There's only so much room on a box. Yeah.
That could be the first Energon. Forget the the Cobra. I mean, the Baroness would be an easy one to do, but that you could go out with a bang. Start with a bang with the Pythona.
She's sexy. She's hot. She's already been in Cobra Commander, and she's going to be in Void Rivals.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Diana, can you relate to the writers and of course heavy military stuff here? Stop listing the heavy machine gunners like rock and roll as heavy artillery. There's a huge difference. So he wants heavy machine gunners, not heavy artillery.
Do you mean an Energon Universe or a Real American Hero? Because I don't have much power over Energon Universe. I used to have to send my notes from there through a couple of different guys, and even then it's considered overstepping my bounds, although I'll still do it. I've done it. I've actually had to say, you can fire me if you want, but I don't like it. But I can't do that again because they just might be like, yeah, okay. I will try. I'll pass that along to my editor, and he usually passes these things along as well.
Cool. So then Diana, Larry Hama keeps making new characters, Molto, Caseload, and Sherlock. Who's your favorite new character?
Honestly, I really like Dawn the best. Molto is going to be right after that. I think Molto is awesome. And considering how much people from the Philippines have done for the United States, both joining like the Air Force and the Navy, and the women who have come over to become nurses and caretakers and everything, I think Molto was later than he should have been. We should have had a Filipino Joe or Pinoy Joe a lot quicker. And Molto's just a kick-ass character. He's really cool.
All right. And then would love to see comic bundles with classified figures. So kind of what McFarlane's doing, but with classified with the 2-packs we got in the modern era, Joe.
Yeah.
But that makes sense to me. But that's all up to the Hasbro team, and basically Linda Lee, I think, would be the person behind that, and Ed Lane. Those are going to be the guys who would sort of be calling in on that.
Linda, are you listening?
She's not here.
And then
maybe she is.
Right. Jeremy, what's up, man? It's been a minute. Diana, I have a request push for Charbroil to get used by Homicide.
I'll try and ask him. I'll try and ask him.
All right, awesome. I think Baldy, you got one last question about Energon or anything before we just show the new Real American Hero comic covers?
No, not really.
Cool.
I think we covered everything.
And then here we go. Just take us through this, Diana.
Well, what issue is this? 309. So I'm currently working on 310. This is so last month, but I love these covers. I love the Brad Walker covers. Honestly, those have been so amazing. And I believe there's a way you can kind of get the explosions to line up, so you can line them all up. I just haven't figured it out myself.
Oh, nice.
But the Brad Walker covers have been amazing. Of course, we've got Kubert, and his covers are also cool. But it's hard to choose. They've really knocked it out of the park with a Real American Hero. They've given us a little more flexibility on certain things that were kibosh before. It's a little more violent, a little more blood than we've seen. Mm-hmm. It's been amazing to work for them. I know Larry's pounding out 311. Yeah, that cover is awesome. It's rare he got to use 2 Joes on a single cover. But he really wanted to include them together. And with blood, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That artwork is awesome. It almost evokes some of the early Marvel covers.
Yeah. Well, you bring in Kubert, it's going to echo back to the old Kubert days.
Yep.
All right, we got these 2 questions I see in the chat. This is it for questions for Diana. But before that, I'll ask you, do you have anything you want to add about what's going on in a Real American Hero? Like you said, you're working on 310. I don't know what you're allowed to say or anything, but just anything, basically, what's going on.
It's going amazing new directions. I feel Larry's been reinvigorated by moving on. He's definitely taking the characters new ways. He's going to stick to his core team, but he's also bringing in new ideas, new concepts. I know people are still like, nah, we don't need Revanche anymore. But there's no way you could do the story he's doing without them. They serve a purpose in the story. They are necessary for what he's planning. People are guessing what's going on with Serpentor. Again, Larry knows what he's doing. You just have to let it play out so you can see how he's done it. It's definitely an intriguing story that you haven't gotten to yet, but it's been building. Another thing where characters question their faith, question their identities, and then have to come out on one side or the other. So I just think if you hang on and read it, and again, please write more and more letters. Now that we've finally got a letters column back up, it's important that people keep writing letters, even if you don't like it. I mean, they've had letters from people who are unhappy, but it's still a letters column, and that gives them a chance to interact with fans, and that's the best thing.
100%. Yeah. No, it's awesome. I like.
Can I just send a letter to you that you can send right to Larry for me?
You can try, but the best thing to do is to write to Skybound and have them post it. Larry, it's amazing. The reason I got to know Larry beyond conventions, I got more closely because I had questions and I just fucking asked him. And I had all these people I saw guessing about why he did things and what he did and what he meant by that. And I just said, what did you mean by this, Larry? And he was so excited to tell me. So many people just guess. And he was just like, and he didn't know who I was. I mean, I met him in a few cons, but it was just that kind of constant thing going on that worked out. He's a sweet guy. He can be grumpy, but we all can be grumpy.
Diana, do you know what you did? you treated him like a regular person, and that's probably why he responded to you.
Oh, I hope so. I just don't understand why people don't just actually ask the people, you know? So many people like Larry decided this because of this. And Larry's like, I didn't. No, that's not it. But they never asked him.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Everybody gets starstruck, and then, you know, anybody of any level where you put them on this pedestal, they're still people, right? So if they're having a bad day, or if you come off rough to them or over sweet or whatever it is, that may taint your perception. But if you remember, at the end of the day, they're just a person, right?
Yeah.
And they, you know, maybe they had something stupid like the trash bag broke this morning, or they got cut off earlier. They're just still regular people. Treat them regular, ask them normal questions, and they're probably going to respond in a way that you couldn't imagine.
Yeah, and if you see Larry at a con, remember his hearing is bad. So in a convention setting, he might not necessarily.
His what is bad?
His hearing is bad. He
Hearing.
doesn't hear the way
Just,
he used
that's
to.
like, oh, come on, Baldy. Why'd you do that?
Guys,
Yeah.
you fell for that.
Come on.
If he's drawing,
All right,
just ask him. Bring him a cup of coffee. That's the one thing he usually needs.
There you go. There's the advice. Diana, last two questions for comics. Have you guys considered including some of the G.I. Joe pets from the Extended Universe comics?
Oh, for the
Or
Energon
European?
Universe?
Energon Universe, sorry.
I haven't wanted it. I mean, I love the pets. I adore the pets. I would buy a pack of just pets. Just pets. And I keep wanting them to make a bulldog because I have them. And I don't understand why no Marine has come with a bulldog yet. I would adore the pets. We had Polly in the Saturday Morning Adventures be like the solver of everything, which ended up kind of working really well. I would adore that. I can push it. I don't know if it's going to a Real American Hero, although Larry is a dog lover, and so he tries to include dogs as much as he can. Not necessarily Polly, but dogs as well. I think it would just be a cool comic to have more of the pets.
Totally agree. I mean, look at how crazy we're going for pets. I mean, look at all the figures, and it's a great segue into what we're going to be talking next, classified. But last question from Salinas: do you have a second favorite character or favorite Cobra character, since Duke is your number one?
Doc is my second favorite G.I. Joe. Cobras, that's hard to pick on. I really like Destro for who Larry and Arthur felt he was. I think he's a complex, interesting character, sort of a Macbeth kind of guy, which I think he was completely based around. You know, he does bad things, but he has the best reasons. He looks out for his people. I really like that. Zartan's also becoming better and better. It's just really hard to say. Crocmaster I was like because he had crocodiles. But definitely Doc is my second favorite.
Awesome. But we know you got to check on dinner, but if you want to hang out and talk a little classified with us, feel free to come back. I know you got to take a quick break, and just send us a PM in our little StreamYard chat and we'll pop you back on.
Sure, for sure.
Cool. So after these messages, we'll see you in a little bit. But for Energon, thank you so much for being amazing, and we'll see you just in a little while.
That was
thanks
great,
for asking me on. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Baldy. Thanks, Travis. I'm off.
See you in a bit.
I'll be back.
All right. Bye.
Cool.
All right, Baldy. I have a question for you, Baldy. Can you, I think I have to remove. Here we go.
First of all, before,
let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into it.
Oh, dude, that was a surprise for me, man. And I think it was a surprise for the chat. And
dude, that was amazing. That was great. That was great. Yeah.
Down
really
to earth,
cool.
and she just dove right in as if we've been hanging out for some time. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's
what I like. As long as you guys aren't dicks, you know, people are nice to you.
Dude, and the chat was great. A lot of great questions, a lot of engagement, a lot of love for Diana Davis. She's going to be back and hang out because she was like, I'll do it earlier. And I wasn't 100% sure. She'll hang out and do classified. I don't want to do a 4-hour show, and we have a lot to cover. So we'll do the best we can. We did cover some of this on Sunday. It was more of a best and worst of. I did kind of
because we were covering all of Comic-Con on Sunday, we kind of crapped out on a lot of the stuff, Joe, and so there's been some updates since. And I really wanted to get, Baldy as one of the best G.I. Joe classified reviewers in the game, if not the best. Definitely wanted to get your opinion on a lot of what's going on. My first question to you, though, is are you able to, I know you're not logged in with my account, are you able to control any of the slides at this point? Because I got to actually go 10-1. Can you, if I do this, can you scan through it from your end or no?
Let me see. I dropped my mouse. Hold on.
Cool.
I think I can. Because
thank you for awesome comments. Yeah, Diana's gonna come back, and yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I've been wanting to have her on the show for a long time.
This is where the chat loves me because this is where I mess up all the time. So yes, I.
Oh yeah, you can. Okay, perfect. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be back as well in a second, but take over and talk about the Rattler. And then I have some questions for you about the Rattler, and then we can go through all the the VTOL abilities and all that. But I guess you could just give the chat your initial response on how you feel about
Are you sure about this? Yeah. Are you sure about this?
This is how.
Wow, guys, he's just giving me the reins, and there's still 60 of you guys here. So hopefully everybody stays on. And I did not mean to do that. I do not want to be the main thing here. So, see, this is what happens when you let somebody who doesn't know what they're doing take control. So wait, let's get this back up. There we go. You guys do not want to see my bald face up here. So we already lost one watcher. Let's see if we can keep everybody else around. But anyway, the Rattler. Listen, we all saw this coming. I'm all in on classified. I do want a Rattler. I will take my stance. And I am telling you guys that this thing sells itself. It does not need to be a HasLab at all, not even remotely. This thing sells itself. Okay, so whether you guys agree with me or not, I really do feel like maybe I don't want my whole head on there. How do I, guys? What am I doing? Full screen layout. All right, so. No, we did not boot Travis. Hold on. This is funny. We did not boot Travis. Oh, dear. And thank you so much, War Chest. Yes, I feel like maybe I can do it. But anyway, whew. So the Rattler, I think, sells itself. When I think of a HasLab, I think of a dream project. We would never dream of getting a hydrofoil or a Cobra Moray. And I think you can see under my name that it says I am Team Moray. And I think that this thing sells itself. This thing could be a Pulse exclusive on its own. Drop the price. If we had this thing listed at, if I say $225 with Wild Weasel, maybe no lights. You can add lights on your own. I don't know. I think that the Rattler just sells itself. The Rattler is a character on its own. They don't have to worry about Big Bad Toy Store. They don't have to worry about Amazon. This thing sells itself just like the Vamp did. Okay? The Vamp sold itself. Clutch, obviously. So when they look at these when they look at these vehicles, right, the vehicles are characters too. So in order to have it numbered for classified, they're going to include a figure. That's why the Ferret got the Ferret Scout. That's why the Tiger Paw got Wreckage, right? So, wait, hold on. I don't know if I'm allowed to put up curse words on here, but guess what? He gave me the wheel here. So, let's see. Yep. Kick you off the fence. Next HasLab will be a playset. But really, my argument here for the Rattler. Hey, Paul, thank you. Yes, I do believe that it will be, because guess what? We already did land. We did air twice now. We've got to do the sea. Okay. We already, we need a sea vehicle, and it needs to float because people want to take that stuff out into the pool. But back to the Rattler. You guys know my stance. This thing sells itself. I think that we should have been a little more of a dream project. Oh, Diana, you're back?
I'm back.
That's awesome. I thought you were
I'm
getting
back.
dinner.
Well, I just had to check it. I've got about 15 minutes before the turkey loin is done.
All right. So since Travis is in, he's backstage, right? And he gave me the wheel here, and half the time I don't know where to put my hands. Diana,
I'm the same way.
how do you feel about the Rattler, and do you think it should have been a HasLab, or do you think it could have sold itself?
There's no way to do it beyond HasLab at that price.
Are you allowed
point.
to say?
Well, I'm not involved in Hasbro, so this is all just my understanding of it. So the only way I'm involved in Hasbro is through like Linda Lee and the licensing people to make sure that the comic goes along with what they envision and the basic rules that they have for it. But in terms of HasLabs, there's no way something this big with all these details and all this work would have been done without being a HasLab, because there's just, you can't sell a toy this big. You can't sell a toy this big on the shelves. It takes up more shelf space than all the big retailers are willing to give.
Okay.
They're not going to make a ton of them for retail, because retail will want a good selection. But if they don't sell, they have to take them back. And where are you going to warehouse all these things? So when you get to something Rattler, his tank, Dragonfly size, crowdfunding is the only way to do it that makes sense. They have their break-even point. They know how much money they have to make to be able to actually put it into production.
Right.
And they know that once they get there, all of those are going to be sold. So there's not going to be back stock they have to deal with in warehouses or anything. The Death of Superman comic, they made so many of them that if you get one now at an event, it's probably from the original run, because they made so friggin' many of them. It's the same thing, only this is like a $300-400 thing. No Target is going to want to have shelf space for a $300-400 thing in any way, shape, or form.
So, so my argument against that is, one, I 100% agree with everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is why we've seen the death of Toys R Us. That is why we don't have a toy store. And now we're regulated to maybe one aisle at Target or Walmart, right? Because of that premium real estate for these toys. But if this were a Pulse exclusive, I guess what your argument is, for a HasLab, it's really about an MOQ for your minimum order quantity, to make sure that that is met, so that you're not taking up space and then putting this on the Hasbro outlet store. Yeah.
They want to make sure that everything they make is going to be bought in terms of toys these size. They want to make sure that everything they manufacture already has a home, because this is whatever people think, the profit from these kinds of things the profit margin isn't as big as you think. The overhead is huge for something like this.
Yes. Not
just from design, but in terms of logistics, in terms of manufacture, in terms of storing and shipping and storing again. It's a lot of money, and these are big toys that take up a lot of room. So storage and shipping is a huge factor. And you've got to pay all the designers, the box art guy, the guy who delivers them. It's a lot of money. So if they can create a way of making sure that they're not going to manufacture anything that isn't going to be sold, I mean, who wouldn't do that? You have already 100% secured sales. If someone backs out, then you've already met your break-even point. So this is going to be a way of a lot of companies making huge collectible toys for the future. And this thing is so friggin' detailed. I mean, look at that. Just look at freaking that missile and the bombs. And
well, not just that. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at the rivets.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
I mean, it's really, really well done. And you do make a good argument against my argument as far as, you know, it needs to be more of that HasLab, the MTO, the made to order or minimum order quantity. So yes, I get it, because you don't want this ending up at Big Bad Toy Store and then they're trying to get rid of them on Black Friday. And
Big Bad Toy Store can order them, and they will. And other retailers can order them, and they will. It's like with the big compilation we did for Skybound. They made sure retailers got a retailer price that they could order them for. But we know that every single one that is made has already been purchased. So there's no major loss. And companies are tired of the major loss. This thing, the damage panel, when you put it on and turn on the lights, it looks like there's a fire behind it. It's just beautiful. It's a little flickering red lights. It's gorgeous. A lot of work went into this. And I can see after doing all that work and all that pain, they don't want to have them unsold. They don't want them to go to Ross. They don't want anything they make go to Ross. It may be they go more and more to this kind of model for adult collectors, and why shouldn't they? If you like it, then you buy it. Right, and that's where your audience is. That's where your income is at. So I do appreciate that they made this a HasLab. I don't know. I kind of still feel like with the Vamp sold itself. So they've already been testing the waters, right? And the Rattler is one of those vehicles where you're like, you know what? This is a character in itself. This thing can sell itself. So I kind of feel like it could sell itself. And then you could do a 2-pack of the Baroness and the Gunner and sell that separately. But I don't know. To me, a HasLab project is something you don't expect to see made. Like the Whale. Like I expected us to get a Rattler at some point. But to me, like a HasLab would be like the Whale or Headquarters or something of some insane, maybe not even insane size, but just large enough where you're like, wow, I can't believe they're offering this. That's what a HasLab is to me. Well,
like
remember,
sells itself.
I'm not sure it would, though, is because so many collectors wait for things to go to Ross. So many collectors are like, I know it's going to go to discount, so I'm going to wait till it gets there. And that kills Hasbro. That kills them. And they are, as much as people want them to do, and they do things for the fans, you got to remember, this is a company that makes toys for profit. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know?
No, I mean, that's what they do.
That's what they do. And they want to make sure they maximize their profit margins, especially on huge projects. The Stinger and the Vamp, same thing, really. They sold themselves, but they're much smaller, much smaller, much simpler to manufacture. You can make both of them from the same mold. It's just different paint apps. There's nothing else the Rattler could be but the Rattler. And it's got all these details they have added in because they want it to be cool. Something this big is going to be a display piece. It's not going to be something really played with. Kids couldn't afford it. Even if they made it for retail, children couldn't afford it. And then parents are going to spend that much money on a retail thing and go, here you go, Bobby, go play with this in the backyard. No, that's not happening. So it makes sense to me if I was putting this much of an investment into a product and I could make sure that every one I made got sold, hell yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay. All right, so you are pro Rattler HasLab.
Mhm.
I've already lost the argument because they made it to HasLab.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna defend both of you, and I'm back. And I almost just went to bed because you guys were killing it, and I'm like, I don't need to do the rest of this. I took a break to eat because it's like 9 o'clock, and I hadn't had dinner yet, and I was like, you guys are killing it. I'm going to bed. I don't need to. I'll just watch the replay tomorrow. You guys are awesome. But as far as the made to order, that's what Marvel Legends is doing with the Dragon Man. I don't know if you mentioned this while I was gone, but in their panel, did you, Baldy?
No,
Mention
no.
that? But yeah,
I figured that was
but
coming
that's
up.
what they're doing with the next big boys. I think Giant Man was a good success for them, but I think they were fatigued from it. Like it wasn't like a perfect success. Like all these GI Joe ones are pretty, like they're just all killing it at this point. Patches are not, right? It's like we're laughing at the patches, but it got back in 24 hours. So the
Joe
Giant
fan.
Man. The Giant Man got back. Dragon Man is now a made to order. It's going to go on sale for like a month or something, and then that's it. So I think you're right as far as Hasbro trying to do something, akin to that model.
What does that sound?
That's my dog, Paloma.
Oh,
I have many, many pets. I've got a cat in my lap, 2 dogs lying next to me, fish in the living room. There's another cat outside. I'm sure there's lots of raccoons out there. So I'm surrounded. My nephew says I have all the ecosystems in my house.
are you
That's
Ace
good.
Ventura?
Yeah, well, I don't go that far up a rhino, but I do like animals.
That's awesome.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, the saving grace of the Rattler for me is that VTOL, that being able to fold those wings and all that stuff, because without that, I mean, I would still get it, but it'd probably be sit in a box for a while. But being able to fold it like that, it'll sit on top of a DTOF. I don't know, but probably not inside because it's too long, but at least it's much better for the shelf. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think it
think it
is.
was a smart design choice. There are actual real world vehicles that do this to save space on a carrier. So I think it's neat. I think that they incorporated some really nice engineering here. But I still stand by this thing sells itself.
It did. I mean, it funded so fast.
Yeah.
All right.
I
But just to kind of oh, go ahead, Diana. Sorry.
I'm just confused about the anger about patches.
Oh, well, yeah, we kind of discussed that at the top of the show. I figured
Yeah.
it'd be a fun way to start. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll get a quick take on you from you about that.
They can't always. This is a very complex toy. It's it's more complex than the Hiss.
Oh, yeah.
More complex than
Mhm.
the Dragonfly. It's got a lot in it.
Mm-hmm. Just look at it.
Patches are there because they need to have a tier that will excite people, and maybe not excite them, but give people a bonus, but won't break the bank. They would have had to do less cool shit for the Rattler if they didn't do the patches. You have figures, and they're going to be coming later because, of course, they are. You want to put the stuff that is going to be super exciting at the end to encourage more people to bid. It's just that sometimes real life intervenes, folks, and everything's more expensive, even for toy companies. So this was something they had to do, and they weren't going to give you nothing. They were going to do like the figure tier is still there, and there's no tier in between. So they had to do something that kind of mattered. And I can remember when we had toys, how many people want to collect the little, the little ribbons that we got with our GI Joe. People are going bonkers to collect those. Minifigures, all these little inexpensive bonuses we got back in the 80s that people are bananas to get now. Face paints that probably don't work. So it's not different than Hasbro's done before in the history of GI Joe. It's just there so we can get a really cool thing at a really good price point and have something kind of nice. I mean, put the patches against a black velvet background. Here comes the cat. And display it with your Rattler. Make a whole shadow box display out of it and make it look cool.
Yeah.
Great idea. I do want to just get to the super chat. War Chest says, I do wish the stand was a little bit taller, and it is it's only about 7 or 8 inches tall. If it was too tall, then it's gonna ruin a lot of, I think a lot of people putting them on top of DTOL, so if it's too
Yeah.
tall, it might hit their ceiling.
I do
So,
wish it had this. Remember the thing you got for the Sky Striker, where it's that little thing on a ball, and you can tilt it around and display your Sky
Right,
Striker. in different
yeah.
ways. I wish they'd done that also with a Rattler, because that kind of just makes sense. Then you don't have to just turn it around; you just plop it on. And
Well, this does have a tapered attachment block, and it says it enables the banking and taking off and dive bombing poses. So it's not going to be articulated like the one you mentioned, but at
Yeah.
least that block that they showed in the panel would be
And
Yeah,
something different.
this is much bigger than that. So
yeah, and you flip it around, and it has a drawer. Oh, cat! Stop fighting with the dog. And you have a drawer to store the blast effects and missiles.
Yeah, that's a good call right
Oh
there.
my
Yeah,
god, that's amazing. Because for the Rattler, it's like for the Sky Striker, where do I put all this shit if I'm not using it? It just,
yeah.
It just
And you know, they take you know, a lot of people have asked the classified team, and I think Lenny has addressed this a few times, especially with us in the interview we did. Shelf space is definitely, like, they take that into consideration. They take into consideration the real estate. Can you actually fit this on your shelf?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why this thing is not that tall. I mean, I'm always told that 7 inches is more than plenty. So
usually it has to hurt just a little. On that note, I do want to point out that friggin' Wild Weasel is the mega thirst trap of all the classified figures.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I always thought Wild Weasel was supposed to be not necessarily so good looking, but good God, that face sculpt. He's like a tiny little bad boy scar, and then it's like
right there.
the hell.
that's Val Kilmer from Top Gun,
Kinda.
right?
What are those two? It says, what are those two black straps of Wild Weasel's accessories? So that's a hose that goes from his helmet to his pack. I don't see two straps. So you mean
Well,
the
Yeah,
ones
the
that
ones
are
on
on?
the right?
Yeah, on the right, Trav, towards
Those
the
two
bottom.
little
Oh,
ones?
on the right. Oh, okay. Those are like cufflinks. Or they'll. Oh, those are no. Those are clips for his gun. No.
No, those are so if you go on adamandeve.com, they sell these Velcro things you put against the headboard.
I mean, when you're with a
Oh
thirst
my
trap
God.
like that, you want those, right?
Oh, you guys are killing me. Oh,
I like his little Fred from Scooby-Doo little scarf there. Oh,
Yeah, actually,
got an
that's
ascot.
great. Yep, that's a great call.
It looks
He's
very
out to solve
fabricy,
he's out to solve a mystery.
right? Dude,
hilarious.
that's the hottest Wild Weasel ever.
So, do you think they'll stay true to this this head sculpt, this digital render, or do you think there's a possibility we'll get another Falcon and he's not going to be as pretty?
Oh, we're never getting another Falcon thing. What happened there is never happening again. There's a few things that have happened because they sort of let their guard down and expected their people to hold best practices and high standards.
Sure.
And I think there have been teachable moments with that in the Transformers line, in the Joe line. There won't, not to say there won't be other mistakes because they're human, but that one's not going to happen again. They're going to make darn sure they check these things all the way before they get into production.
Diana, do you think it would be fan service if they included a second Falcon head with the Night Force pack that's coming?
I mean, it would have been nice if you could just have gotten one, because they admitted the error, they admitted the problem, they knew it was an issue, and they knew it was horrible, and they feel really bad about it. It would be nice if you could just get a second head somehow, like, a pack of guns and another Falcon head. There you go. I'm not sure. Their budget is very tight. I'm not kidding how tight their budget is. It's super duper tight. So honestly, there just might not be the budget for it. Another head sculpt is actually really expensive to do because any kind of new sculpting, if they could print double those heads and just put them in the box, yeah, but that would raise the price of the figures.
Sure.
I wish they would, but that team has a budget that they have to work with through the year, and they have to stick to it.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm just busting balls. We've gotten to talk to them, and they handle that subject so well. With 100+ figures for one misstep, and it's really just the head that you can then kind of fix. It's not that bad. Like, really, what are people complaining about when it comes to that? Just don't buy the figure.
Put Wild Weasel's head on him, and then you have Thirst Trap Falcon. Just paint the hair black. You're good.
Awesome. So there has been some comments. I know Darren said that the target coordinates and the flight plans, as you could see, those white things on his legs are upside down, and I guess it looks like they match. I think they match the original toy, so they're probably not military accurate, but they match the original toy. So it's one of those decisions you got to make, and they're probably always going to go with the original toy, right, over like anything realistic because they're toys. So I think that might be the answer there.
Well,
if you look at the picture.
We have a vocal minority within the classified space.
Well, the military accuracy, yeah.
Yeah, the military accuracy, yes, it should be flipped. But you have these guys screaming, that's not the Wild Weasel I remember. So that,
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to kind of combat that and pick your battles.
Yeah, and that's been a problem even from the comic end for all the comics, is like, okay, this was a mistake in the original comic. Do we fix it? Or do we leave it? Like, this character is like a Payload. Payload, when we're doing the compilation, there's one issue where they colored Payload white the whole way through. There's actually an issue where they colored Roadblock white the whole way through. And that was the original comic. Now, do we fix it? Because that makes sense. The character is not white. Or do we leave it because that's the original comic and you want to stay true to the original comic when you're reprinting them? And it's a case-by-case thing. With characters, yeah, no, if they're black, we're going to color them the right way because that matters. Other things, it's hard to say. And so when you get into like toys with the original toy and you're making a toy that represents the original toy again, what do? Duke's flag. Duke's flag has always been backwards. It's always been backwards. The blue field's supposed to come first, and they put it backwards on on his very first toy. That patch was friggin' backwards, and you had stripes first. And so when it comes to remaking a new one, do you do it accurate to the original mail-away toy, or do you do it accurate to the military? Someone's going to complain either way. So you have to make a choice and just cross your fingers.
So just a follow-up. I know Travis is trying to get to the next slide, but why do you think that some of us man-child collectors are such little bitches?
You know, it's I have been that way myself. There's something that came out when Duke first came out, and they's like, G.I. Joe's most famous officer. And I'm like, no, he's not an officer. That's a main part of the character. You need to change that, and they actually listened to me on that one. But they said, we need to take our own license with this and be free. So we'll do that one, but give us some wiggle room here. I think when you love something and it's a part of nostalgia, it's a part of who you were and you loved it as a kid, and it's hard to see things change because no one likes feeling replaced. Okay, no one likes feeling replaced. No one likes feeling that they're not the target demographic anymore. Nobody wants to feel like they're being shoved aside. And it's very hard, especially for men. Okay, men have been raised to not just say, this hurts me, I don't like it, I feel bad. So that's going to come out as anger with a lot of these men because they have been told that it's weak to just say, this hurts me, I liked this as a kid. It makes me feel kind of bad that I'm no longer the target demographic. That comes out more as like, fuck you, Hasbro, end of the line. But I get it because I'm 49. it doesn't feel great to feel replaced, but we aren't the target demographic. If they want the line to continue, they have to bring in people, maybe not kids anymore, but younger adults, people who may be coming in, and Energon Universe is doing that. And these people are coming in because it's good to read. And Classified is doing that because the toys are really friggin' awesome.
Absolutely.
But in a world where guys aren't allowed to say, because they'll be called pussies and all sorts of things, if they're like, wow, I really like this as a kid, it makes me feel bad that I'm getting old. I can try. So I get it. And, yeah, it's not a mature way to behave. And I wish guys just say you hurt. Anyone who calls you names because you say you hurt, fuck them. Jesus Christ. Men are perfectly fine saying, this hurts me. It sucks getting old. So do it.
I said that this morning when I woke up and my thumb was just hurting for no reason.
What the hell is this pain? When did this happen? Yeah. Hollywood.
Diana, I just want to say you are the realist. You're one of the realest guests. You're just the realest. Man,
Thanks.
It's awesome. Awesome to have a real guest just holding nothing back, and you're in a place where, maybe, but I appreciate it.
It gets me in trouble sometimes, but honestly, you got to just be honest and say, fuck this hurts. And understand that Hasbro's going to say, but we need to sell more toys to more people than you.
Yeah.
And they still do shit to make us happy. So, because they're all old people too. They're all, Lenny's our age. Come on. So it's just the way to go. But I understand feeling bad. And I'm sorry if you guys feel like you're being pushed aside. It's hard. Aging is hard for everyone.
Agreed. Nailed it. How do we follow that? But we have a super chat. Wrong one. He sent a lot of little. This is why Moody eats his feeling. LOL. War chest. Always making us laugh in the chat. I think we have a couple comments here. I want to just get through them before we move on from the Rattler. I don't know if you covered this one. The Rattler HasLab is over 12K. Do you think it'll make it past 18K by the end of the HasLab at its current rate? Absolutely.
Yep.
It's going to surpass that.
Yeah.
This is the silliness of social media. Okay. So you have your early backers, and then you have this, what is it, a 45-day window? So you have it just kind of sitting there, and there's that lull, and you may see a random spike here and there, but then everybody freaks out. We're not going to get this, or we're not going to get that. We're not going to unlock Baroness. Yes, you guys are. Okay. Knock it off. It's going to unlock, and it's probably going to break at least 19, if not 20K. All right. And I think that's, everybody relax. We're going to get all the tiers. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're going to get it. Because you always see that FOMO dying in the last 48 hours.
And if you want it, get it while it's 300 and something. Don't wait to complain when people flip it on eBay for double the price, because they're flipping it for the people who were silly enough not to get in on it. They'll make as many as they sell. So $300 for something like this is not.
I already
really
have
crazy.
my eBay auction lined up for 12:01 the next day, and it's for triple the price. So
do it. I mean, make a profit somehow.
Bryce, I apologize. You put this earlier, but we were talking about comics, and he says he's looking through the Pulse app, and it's showing a bunch of figures back in stock. I don't know which ones you're talking about, but if anybody sees anything like that's been sold out for a while, you could support this comment. I asked Lenny, David Warren Hernandez, my friend, I asked Lenny at ComicCon about the GHO headquarters on the box art for the claw. His response was, I'd love to do the HQ. Yeah, well, now look, I don't want to spend time. What's the next HasLab? We've done that a million times. We'll do it again. But he says, I wouldn't even mind if they do HasLabs to fund tooling. We get first access to special edition. Then they sell a version on Pulse or retail. That would be good cool idea. Yeah. I think you guys kind of touched on something like that. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw up slides like this, and I'm going to read off the specs on this thing. It's got a stowage boarding ladder with foot peg that slides out of the fuselage. It's got a 2-part
cockpit instrument panel display. No, sorry, Tupac cockpit has artificial snake skin on the pilot seat. I don't even know if we have the picture there, but here we go. It's got illuminated HUD, articulated control stick throttle, landing lights. It's got all this stuff, and that's the thing. So we're getting patches because of all this stuff. It's way more intense, like Diana said, than the Dragonfly and the Hiss. It's got a cockpit instrument panel display. It's got the twin 20 millimeter gunner turret HUD that rotates 360. It's got vertical articulation on the barrels. Then the cockpit damage warning indicator illuminates. It's got Diana mentioned earlier the swappable armor hull plating. And then we talked about the ventral. It's a spring-loaded landing gear releases, forward and reverse taxing. On the starboard, there's a hinge panel for, it's got the mechanism and the ammunition detail. Then when it comes to the cannons, you got like all these different cannons, like 30 millimeter, you got cluster bombs, precision guided rocket launches, quick thrust, quick thrust short range missiles. You got thermonuclear bombs. You got 2 bomb racks that hold unguided bombs. You got the different blast effects and those 2 laser beams that we have, and of course this stand. And then we talked about Wild Weasel. Let's talk about the other figures right now. We got a nice look at Wild Weasel and Pilot Baroness, and then we have these from the display. Shout out to Toy News, and then it also Grip C47 from Chazaguru. Some great photos. I took a lot of nice photos of the classifieds, but when it came to the Rattler, I think they were putting it out like Sunday when I wasn't there. So like when they opened up the window, so I didn't really get a lot of good shots of these. But as far as Baroness and then this gunner, the gunner is 14K and then 18K for Pilot Baroness. So we could see some shots there. And so just want to get you guys' take on the second and third tier.
I think they're awesome. I love that Baroness.
I agree. Can you go back a slide or two? That one right there. I'm sorry. No, the next one with Baroness. There you go. So I love this shot here because it is that callback to the World War II like pinups. Do you know what I mean? Like on the side of the planes and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really nice job here, and that really sells the figure. I mean, the character itself sells. I think it's fantastic. And Diana, you said you're behind these 2 characters.
Yeah. I like the Baroness. I understand what Baroness is for a real American hero. She has got more comic covers, and some of them should come with a little pot of Vaseline. But I mean, her whole character is strong, powerful, using her sexiness to get what she needs. I just wish some guys wouldn't take it to like a disgusting degree that they do. But I think the figure is beautiful and the helmet is amazing. And I remember that from comics and the cartoon. And it's just really well done. I mean, it's perfect. And she's got to look, that's the Baroness down pat. I personally wouldn't wear heels to go into battle. You just hurt, she's got her car bar shoes on, but it's good. It's well made. It's well sculpted. It's a gorgeous figure. It has really great accessories. I hope that she funds. I hope that the gunner funds as well. But, he's not as exciting as the Baroness. And
How do you feel about 325? Sorry to cut you off, but how do you feel about? I just want to get this question out of the way.
325 makes sense to me. That sounds like a good price. It should be more, frankly, and that's one of the reasons we have the patches. This should be like a $500 thing. And if you have figures,
I'll go to Baldy and say, and the first question I asked, Lenny, when it came to that was like, could you have done 350 with one more figure so you get all your figures, even though it would be a jump in price? But then people would be bitching about the 350, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because then you're in what was it? The Ghost Rider car? What was it called?
Engines of Vengeance.
Yeah. So you get into that 350 mark, and people are a little more hesitant. I don't think you always need 3 figures. I don't think you need multiple tiers. A bonus tier, it's fine. And Diana, you weren't here earlier, but I was saying if they had just reworded this and said early bird backers can unlock the patches for everybody. And if it funds in a week, everybody gets it. And then you have tier 1 and tier 2. They're naming it tier 3 tiers, and that's why people are freaking out.
Yeah. Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. I think it all comes down to wording and marketing, and that's a misstep, and maybe they learn from that going forward. But I'm fine with these tiers. And for $325, I don't know. I'll still hold my ground and say I think the Rattler sells itself, and you could have done a 2-pack that complements it with these 2 characters, just like we did with the 788 HISS team. And then you could have dropped the price even more. But, I also appreciate everything that you said, that there's so much tooling, there's so much detail, there's so many different things here that, like, there is a lot that goes into making a mold and to make a threshold. So for them to break even, they have to sell X amount of units, and the number they're going with is 9,000, right? Mm-hmm. And then they throw in the other stuff. That's all really figured into the price. I mean, let's be honest. Right. It's all figured in. And then the patches were kind of a cool thing. So I think if they changed the wording on that, you wouldn't have people. I don't even know if people are screaming, but that's the vocal minority you're seeing on social media. Mm-hmm. Patches. Shut up. The patches.
Well, I think Punk had a poll on Monday, and then we joked that, like, I think he said 11% of the people who were like mad about the Rattler price were the patch people that probably weren't going to back it anyway, right? So this was the last question we got to move on. We got to cover the other figures, but could we get a 4th tier at 22K? I don't think they're doing stuff like that anymore. Like Diana said, it's getting tight, right? Like Hasbro.
Yeah, they have to keep to a budget, and look at what happened over the last year in terms of layoffs and all that. I don't want them to stick up as a red flag, because I don't want to lose any more people. Losing Corey was hard enough. Losing Mike Kelly was hard enough. And we know Hasbro, there's going to be more layoffs. I love the toys. I love the team. But Chris says this too. I'm not fooled as to that this is a huge corporate company, and they can be cutthroat in terms of their bottom line, and they want that ever increasing profit margin. That's what they're in business to have. So I'd rather the team go under budget or at budget rather than lose another team member.
Yep. I agree with that.
How much time do we? And if this is it, I'm thrilled as pie. But I know you said you had some food waiting for you. That's what I did on my break. So
the dinger is going, and I have to pull my turkey loin out of the oven.
Well, all right. Hey, this was amazing. Definitely one of the greatest guests we've had of all time, Diana. It was a pleasure to meet you at ComicCon, and even better to have you on the show. You rocked it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
This was a treat for me, Diana. I've seen you. I'm very familiar with your work, and I had no idea you were coming on. Travis kept that under his belt, so thanks for hanging out, and I appreciate the banter.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Come back anytime.
It won't be hopefully it won't be long before we have you back on. Thank you so much.
I will be back as soon as you ask me again. And support your local comic shop, guys. Go buy comics from them.
Yeah, the Energon Universe is terrific. If you're joining us late, we broke down G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, and Transformers, what's going on there, as well as the new A Real American Hero issues. So definitely check the replay for our Energon Universe breakthrough. And we talked a lot about classified possibilities and opportunities there. So check that out. But Diana, thanks again.
Thank you, and have a great evening, guys.
Thanks.
Yo,
Diane.
Joe. See ya.
Take care.
Yo.
All right, that was terrific, and she was even better on the HasLab part. She like knows comics, like she knows toys and comics. But speaking of toys, bro, we got to get right into it because
Yeah.
I'm looking at the clock and we're doing good, but we gotta get into it. We didn't cover this on the last show. We got that tease at the end of the panel. If you were able to see some of the streams from either us or MCU Collector or Articulated Points and so forth. Some people think it's like a bear. Chicago Bears, the fridge, because then, we also had this as a tease. I don't know how relevant. A shout to Toy News International had a nice close up in their interview, and it's got the fridge lanyard. I don't think he would have this on for just any other reason, right?
No, Lenny is good at his Easter eggs. He knows what he's doing, so it wouldn't shock me if at PulseCon they kind of say, "Hey, we got him. The fridge is coming back." That would freak people out. So Lenny knows what he's doing. I think he's coming. These bear claw things, I'm not really sure what that is. I thought maybe maybe Cobra Commander's coming with a pair of like comfy bear slippers or something. But
well, you see, does that look like Energon's purple, but you got some kind of green glowing thing going on right there, you know what I mean? So real quick, Baldy, we got a super chat again. Thank you so much for the dough. Double D was cool as fuck. I hope she comes back soon. Oh yeah, absolutely. She was great. Oh my god, figure with pet pack fridge with a pet bear. Well, that was the thing I was thinking. So yeah,
that would be awesome.
Spearhead and Max.
Did fridge come on a card? What is that?
What's picture? That card back? That's probably a custom or maybe like the club, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I just found it.
That's awesome picture though.
It's not Iceberg changing into an orca like the cartoon. Fridge with a bear would be freaking awesome.
That would be
awesome. He was a mail away. It's a custom. Yeah.
He was a mail away because this is what I like about exclusives. Not everybody got them. And it made playtime fun and it made trading fun. So I'm okay. Like if I don't get Once a Man Cobra Commander, I'm okay. I have a Serpentor. I have different things I can trade for him where that's a fun thing from childhood. Do you know what I mean? And Fridge is one of those characters I never had. And I played with him. I had a lot of fun with him, but I never owned Fridge.
How is this comment relevant to? Tony's Figs in the house.
They stripped me.
They stripped for me at Joe Fest. I don't know. You might be responding to somebody else. So anyway, we got to move on. We got the Cobra Claw. And thank you, the great Tonino, Tony Kallela, for these awesome digital renders that he posted today on his Instagram. Yeah, the great Tonino. We got some nice high def looking images. So break down the claw, BaldyLockz.
Dude, I love this design. I love the update. I love they added the wheels that are retractable. They also, I don't think a lot of people notice that the wings also have hinges on them. So it evokes a lot from the original design, but also from the Marvel run, where it was a little bit larger in the Marvel run, and I think it had different capabilities. But I love it. I think it's awesome. I like, again, it looks like it's a female character that they're including.
Yes.
To kind of build out the ranks there, and it's really fun. So I'm excited for it. And then, you're showing this picture side by side. This kind of can tell you that maybe an all-white retro version will be in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this different angle of it, which is really cool with all the wheel standings. And then you can see the top of the claw. Really, really cool that they did both angles because it's such a large mid-sized vehicle, which is crazy because in the interview, I'm like, oh, glaring omission, no mid-sized vehicles. And Tony was like, there's a claw. And I was like, oh, it's because I got one at home, but it's not as good as this one, but it's amazing. Shout out to Mark II Design. I mean, we've had that for a couple of years now, right?
I have
mean,
Mark's thing.
Yeah. And he sent that to me, and I did a little review on a stream of it. So shout out to him. But then, obviously, I'm sure as a fan, he's thrilled to see, the Hasbro real deal in a way. And then there's a comparison to the man, this thing was $2.79. Imagine that. Now it's $279. No, I don't know. What are we pricing this at, buddy? What's the claw width figure?
I'm gonna go with I would love it to come in less than the ferret, but I'm thinking it's gonna keep that price point.
$55.
55. It should be closer to the Trouble Bubble price at Target, which was $44.99. Real fan service would drop it down to the $38 that we got for Night Force.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was amazing. Yeah.
Not only was it amazing, that's the right price point.
Oh, look who's in the house. My dude, Apathy, man. First off, I know it's kind of not relevant to G.I. Joe, but R.I.P. Chino XL. He's one of my favorite lyricists, and I know he was a homie of Apathy, so that was unexpected, totally. But there's a dude 3D-printing the flag, classified size, he says. Apathy in the house. Amazing. Some of the names that we get in these chats. We had My Damn Toys was watching Sunday, and now we get Apathy. I have his files. I'm printing 1, 2, and making YouTube videos. Okay, so check out War Chest. He's doing YouTube of him printing out the flag. That should be something. 6-pack wants it for $35, $44. We're getting all kind of different prices on the clock. This was my favorite of the digital renders, and maybe my favorite figure of the entire stream. And I never, like I said Sunday, I was like, Xandar? That would never be on my radar, bro.
Well, you know what's cool about this is, again, they kind of subtle hints to the original character, but it's updated. It feels different, right? He looks a little bit different than the Xandar we got as kids. I really like it. It's a fun looking figure. I love that scarf kind of is the same color pink that Zorana came with. So it kind of plays off the twins there. His hair's a little bit longer than what I'm used to, but I actually wouldn't mind if he had interchangeable hair like Zorana, so that you could go short hair or this new modern look. That would be kind of a neat feature. But I think they nailed it. This is a fun figure, and it still leaves it open for a retro card.
Yep. And I think that's when we'll probably get the shorter here. Because Zorana, while she did have one modern look, she also had the classic look inside. So maybe they're just giving us the one look, so you have to buy the retro card, which is smart business. You know what I mean?
It's smart double dipping.
And again, shout out to Tony for these amazing images. We would not be able to see this clear based on this, the stuff we got from the live streams. Shout out to David Allen. He was watching our live stream and leaving lots of comments on Sunday. Hope he's doing well. But he said this reminded him of the Devil's Due inspiration there. You see that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a glam guy. He's a gorgeous glam guy.
Well, I feel like we kind of missed it when we were kids, but that was kind of like a David Bowie, right, Star Child kind of look, right? So, listen, we didn't pick up on it as kids, but that's pretty much what they were going for.
Yeah, and this is a great comment. I love the tactical punk aesthetic and the great urban blue coloring. He looks badass for sure. Looks like Ricky Rocket Poison drummer. We got he comes with a digital download of Labyrinth.
But you know what? He fits in. It feels like something in 2024, but it evokes enough from the 80s.
Yeah, I love those boots, like the shin guards that attach to the boots or whatever, or if it's all one piece, kind of hard to tell from here. But they've done a pretty good job. I know with Torch there was some controversy there using mind benders, but at least this looks like a really nice
Thanks,
design.
Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A glam rockers from the early 80s, but yeah, it still has somewhat of a modern aesthetic to it. And yeah, and then underneath the jacket is tats and all that. So it's gonna be removable. And then you get those I know Lenny was real proud of the shoulder pauldrons there, the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
So that we see with the skulls and everything like that. He was talking about the skull, the height. He said it's like what's better than a skull, like an evil like Hydra skull or like something like that, right? So that's what we get on the belt. And then we got Leatherneck, young Ron Rudat, right?
Yep. Looks pretty cool. That massive mustache that we all knew from the 80s. Everybody had, if it wasn't your dad or your uncle, you had a friend whose dad was rocking this freaking mustache. You know what I mean? And I think it looks pretty cool. I've seen people do Super Mario with this.
Oh yeah, we had that. So we had that. Now, if people want to see it, they got to watch Sundays. But yeah, we had and skim through it. But we did the meme with Luigi. But on the last episode, it was really funny. Fun bit. I didn't want to do the same bit, but it was real funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leatherneck is looking real good. And the thing I want to point out is, speaking of Tony Colello, he was talking about he was real proud of not only that 5 o'clock shadow, but the 5 o'clock shadow on the neck. He said it was the first time we're getting a neck beard. Obviously there's not much hair there, but yeah. And then he talked about the removable range glasses we could see on the left and the that marine cover.
Yeah. This looks like a fun figure. I am seeing some reuse there, but I'm fine with that. He looks like a fun figure, and I think a lot of people are really going to appreciate it when he comes out.
Yeah, hoorah! And then yes, I just said that the cover and obviously those glasses are removable there. And then here's some close-ups. Shout out to His Tank Toy Arc. Great shots. I was able to get some really good shots of the pre-orders, but I didn't go this close. So great job with these nice shots. We got the Iron Grenadiers and then Iron Grenadier bat. Rian, that thing looks gorgeous. And then we got Quarrel, and you got the alternate face sculpt, and she's looking great. Man, what a great looking sculpt that is especially on the right.
I'm telling you, this is going to be the sleeper hit this year, Quarrel. And everybody's wondering who the hell Quarrel is, but that's a great face sculpt, and what a fun random addition to throw in with Falcon.
And then there's Falcon with the Wolverine hair from Marvel Legends. It looks like the same print. And then Starduster. So this looks to be like he hasn't gone on sale yet. He's probably going to be. He's not the PulseCon exclusive that we thought he was going to be. He's not coming in the. I'll just say it. Do you think this should have been like an exclusive with a cereal box packaging, or are you okay with just kind of the above standard? This looks to be what, like the Snow Job price, right? Like probably another $5 or $6 more, maybe $10 more.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much more. I think they got to kind of reel it back on some of those price points, but because if you reel it back, it's never going to make it to Ross. You know what I mean? If you make it affordable off the bat, but I think this comes in lower, and I think it's a fun figure. I do feel like it's a deep cut. Not everybody knows who Starduster is. Maybe enough in the G.I. Joe fandom, but yeah, it would have been fun if we got kind of a like gimmicky cereal box with it.
Yeah, it would be fun. We got a question. Quarrels from Devil's Due. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's likely it is from Action. She's from Action Force.
Yeah, Quarrel goes all the way back. Quarrel's from the 80s.
Yeah, the British Action Force. I'm not sure if she makes an appearance in Devil's Due, but if anyone knows that, they can let me know. And here you go. He is a PulseCon exclusive. So we're getting all this full force Patreon knowledge in here. So I appreciate that, Darren. I mean, he is a PulseCon exclusive and will be 34. So he is the PulseCon exclusive. Okay, you heard it here.
But I feel like that doesn't feel like PulseCon exclusive.
Right.
Artwork.
Where Nemesis Immortal does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, he does need to have a little cereal box with him for sure.
What's the difference in the coral faces? I think it's just because of the angle we're looking at. It's a little more menacing on the left and she's like happier on the right, but because of the angle, I don't think we see the difference. I don't think I have any other shots with me, but I'm sure if you go through your social media or look it up, there's a
Are they
plus, I mean, this is an official retail release. You'll be able to see it. Yeah. What's up?
Are they different heads?
I mean,
why would they have it separate? So I'm not seeing something. I don't know what I'm not seeing.
I feel like the eyebrows are raised on the left too. So I mean, maybe do we really have to go to a website? I guess we do.
I don't know, but it's kind of like I think there was a misstep with Quick Kick. With that, the one face is supposed to be him. Like I think you pointed this out first. Him kind of chewing the candy bar, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Where he really should have had an open mouth, like he was screaming during a fight. So this isn't. I mean, this is really subtle. If this is a different head.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now.
I thought it was. I thought it was she had a head and then she had a mask. Or maybe it was a
okay, I found the pre-order picture. Let's see. Oh, I don't know why. Yeah, no, I guess it is the same face sculpt. You're right. It does have the mask that pops off. It's not the kind of helmet that goes over the steel core helmet. It is the same face. It looks slightly different though, right?
No, I think it looks the same.
No?
That's why I was
okay.
That's why I was questioning it.
Here we go. All right. There is no difference. I don't know why one was on and one was off. That threw me off. So
Darren's saying
that we know he comes with a cereal box.
He does,
but
right?
We're saying it should have been the cereal box packaging if it's going to be a PulseCon exclusive, is what we're saying.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like an exclusive box. Do you know what I mean? Every other box had some type of presentation. That looks just like a regular classified box.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. But it comes with a lot of stuff, so that definitely does. The $34.99 makes sense. You get the all black scent.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I think $29.99 because they would be better because he's exclusive. I think that's justifying the
what's new here? The head and the visor. Everything else is reuse. So when
the visor we got from Retro Duke, or is it different?
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. It's Retro Duke's visor.
It's all Retro Duke except for, and you get the steel core back. We've seen all of this except for
that is a new head sculpt though, right? Because
the face sculpt. Yep.
It does look like it's just Duke with black hair.
Yeah, look it. Doesn't look that much different, but it is a new face sculpt. It's slightly different. Yeah,
I don't know, man. That's pretty close.
I know, huh? I mean, this is as close as we're gonna get. There's that damn cereal box.
Yeah, but that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if that was just there for the SDCC presentation, or if it truly comes like how Sarge comes with his little figure.
Yeah. Only the unmasked head is new. Yep, and then we got shockingly, Quarrel may be a David Bowie tribute too. That's funny. Head sculpt and cereal box are the only new parts. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So they hinted Nemesis would be shown. Okay, so shown at PulseCon, but not. To me, it should have just been the PulseCon exclusive. Maybe it's just not ready. So
yeah, I think we get Nemesis before the end of the year.
Yeah, what I meant, again, everyone's correcting me about the cereal box. I meant it should have been in a cereal box packaging. I know we got the images here. Yeah. And then here's a look at Falcon. That was my shot of him in hand, and he looks amazing. Like it totally makes up for all the fun that we have.
Yeah.
Wow, look who's still with us here very late. He always likes to leave our streams early, but he'll watch late. I love that. Shout out to Bobby, man. Go check out Geeks Have Game. Go follow at Geeks Have Game, geeks underscore and all that on YouTube and Instagram. When are we getting that Fang?
It's coming.
There we go. Cool. And then we got new digital renders. I know we got all the product shots, but these are always cool. What's funny is Tony posted this and everybody's like, oh, I guess he's part of Joe now. And then he was like, nah, my bad. He's Cobra. Yeah, I was like, and then I commented, I was like, oh, I'm mad that I'm mad you changed it. I like him better as a Joe. So yeah, it was funny. But
well, what's funny is when you go back to that Joe one, there's a lot of people that commented he looks like Flint with Tiger Force makeup on.
Probably, right?
Yeah, because when you find the picture, I don't know if you have it in your slides or not, but if you see any of the pictures with the helmet, the bird's helmet off, yeah, like that. He's got very similar slick back hair like Flint does.
Right there.
Yep.
It looks a little more. It looks even a little more high and tight than Flint's to me.
Yeah, it probably is, but.
And the scan is different because I think the other one looked like John Bernthal. This one looks like a little more of a thinner face guy. But yeah, there's the packaging. We got the official packaging.
Yeah, this
what's
is
cool, Baldy. We got all deluxe figures or 2-packs at Comic-Con for pre-order.
Oh yeah.
There's not one single $24.99 figure. Everything was either deluxe or 2-pack. It's Comic-Con, so yeah.
He looks fun. I mean, I made the joke before. He looks like what if Jason Todd came back and joined Cobra? You know what I mean? And never became Red Hood. But he looks like a fun update. There's no denying that. I mean, you took this corny character, and I even was thinking, like, what are they going to do? But they gave him kind of that Spider-Man Vulture treatment. And they made it fun looking. I'm going to have fun with this character. So.
Yep, you nailed it. I like this comment. Raptor flying with a few claws will look great. Yeah, that'll be freaking awesome for sure. The artwork on the back of the box shows birds in flight. Okay, let's go. Oh, it does, but they're they look like toy birds. So we didn't even get that in the package.
Yeah, so
last minute caught right. Those are toy birds in the back. See the one on the right? That's clearly like an
I was wondering if maybe is there a chance that his general, what is it, General Ledger, the name of the bird, does that bird come with interchangeable wings that we're not seeing? Does he come with wings?
Maybe, like right? Yeah, it is General Ledger, but yeah, when you look here, we don't actually. It looks, yeah. It could have. Do you think it could have been a cost-cutting thing because of how much it costs for them to do the?
Maybe,
wings?
But I mean,
because we don't see it in any of Matt Cohen's photography, though. You know.
No, I mean, what are we seeing here? He looks like he's mostly Zartan's lower half. You know what I mean? Or is he all Zartan? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Not a fan of the superhero eye mask thing. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. What about you, Baldy?
Well, I mean, it evokes the original character, so I get why they did it.
Agreed. And there's another. I mean, he looks amazing.
Flint. That's Flint.
It is Flint.
I don't know. It looks like.
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
bad Flint.
Bad Flint. Yeah, he looks freaking badass, man. They did such a great job classifying this guy up. For sure.
I mean, this is what classified line is to me. You take a character like that, give him modern elements, modern update, and make him feel like you know,
Here's
2020.
one you'd like. Do you think with all these Joes with slick back hair, we will see a Suavecito a pomade coupon in the packaging? Not Zartan's lower at all. Pretty sure it's not Zartan's torso or arms either.
You know what, Darren? I'm getting tired of your shit.
Yeah. Why don't you just do the show so we can go to bed? Might as
that's
well.
not his. That's not his legs. Well, I don't know.
All right, we're just having fun here. Could be a repaint of Spirit's bird, the flying bird in the picture. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
For sure. All right, and man, but just the wings. This is the best part of it. You know, forget the flint and the reuse and all this. It's all about this. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we got nunchucks, claws, right? And then
this is what I mean about shooting the galaxy. I've said this before. That dude could sell anything with the way that he does the pictures. I mean, that's a fun pose, and people are going to be trying to recapture this.
And then there's how he looks in the booth. It takes up a lot of space.
Yep.
3 figures wide. And then there's a look at Vulture from the MCU, Marvel Legends.
And you see that Vulture's wings have a much larger footprint. So they did do a nice job, because a lot of people were saying, oh my God, they just reused, Vulture's wings. No, if you just Google it, you'll see that that's not the case at all.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on. I love Raptor. I mean, look at that face shot. His tank took the photo. Look at that. That's amazing.
That's a nice
Great shot. Great shot. Just the deco, the paint on it. I love the mask, the headdress. It looks awesome. The feathers. I mean, I thought this was a complete joke of a character. Yeah, in the comics, he's definitely great. But overall, I'm just like, And then I get the figure and I'm like, that's my favorite. All right, Road Pig. This one's polarizing, right?
I'm going to say something a little controversial here. And I never cared for the original Road Pig as a kid. He's one of the dreadnoughts that I just didn't care for. This is a whole new big body sculpt. I think it fits the aesthetic of somebody that size. They're not always ripped. That looks like a football player. I love that they did the pig face mask for him to put on. And I said this in the chat the other night. The muzzle for the dog is also a pig shaped, or I guess not pig, but like a hog or something. He's got the little horn. Mm-hmm. So like a boar.
I see it right there on the left. Yeah, it does look like it. You're right.
A lot of people miss that, but if you look at it, it looks more like a boar. I actually like this figure. It's selling me on Road Pig. I mean, I see what people say when they point it out, like Shrek and different things like that, but he's a big boy, and I think it captures it pretty well.
Yeah, it's going to take some used to, because I think the problem, Baldy, is we got all these customs, right? Tony's Figs, all these great customizers, and we got menacing, these like, godly men. We got like Brock Lesnar, and we got these guys that look like a little older, and then I like some of the comparisons we got on Sunday. Like they were like, this looks like Big Van Vader. And if you know Big Van Vader from wrestling, he has such a baby face, look. And a lot of those powerlifter guys look like children that are just massively wide.
Yes.
They just look, they got that baby face look, which is crazy. And I think that's what Lenny was thinking about.
I feel like that. I was going to I'm just agreeing with you. I feel like that's the route they were going. They definitely should have taken inspiration from his original file card and made him a little more ugly, a little more like he's lived a hardened life. You know what I mean? I just feel like this is just a big guy who decided to be a dick. I'd rather be somebody who was a big guy and lived a rough life. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, but I actually gotta say, I do love this face sculpt from this angle. I know sometimes the
maybe the face sculpt with the mouth open looks a little weird and stuff, like a little
Yeah.
doofy, but like, and look at, he even has fat rolls on his lower back, a lot of attention to detail.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as you can see right there on the right, yeah, that's insane detail. The tats, he's got a lot of tats. You know, they added all that. We don't see the Anarchy tattoo that we got on Naga Hide, right?
I don't
Yeah.
say it. And
Yeah,
I do
so
like
they,
that this is a solid reuse of Junkyard.
Yep. And look at that. This is the ultimate. You know, I think this is something that Gridiron achieved with their look. They were kind of capitalizing on them being Gridiron in football, and they gave him the football helmet and now that. But then adding this like Mad Maxian, you know, like you said, this pig, this boar mask or
Yep.
whatever, just freaking amazing. The boar's head pigskin helmet, they call it.
Yeah, so when you look at this picture and you know that people are going to knock this out of the ballpark when they're taking photography, but then you look and he takes the mask off and he's this baby face gruff guy.
No, that makes it awesome. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a great point. The fact that he has this menacing mask, but I mean, that's kind of Mad Maxian too. You know, you take out the face and it's just kind of some weirdo. It's not even like it's supposed to be this ultra big, handsome football type guy. It's like a
Yeah.
freaking doofus that's just got all kind of stuff going on. And of course, everything's hand patched. You know, he's got the two. It says the tattoo under the Anarchy. So is there? Did I miss the Anarchy? Oh no, there it is. All right, on the right, there is the Anarchy.
Oh, and
so
I see it.
just from the angle. So,
Certified ham.
great ham. That's
Do
funny.
you know
Good
who
call.
he reminds me of? The dude is kind of ripped now, but do you guys remember Boy Meets World and the bully? So I can't think of the character's name. I know somebody in the comments will probably know, but he looks like the bully from Boy Meets World, that big guy.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Some scars, missing teeth, 5 o'clock shadow when I went a long way. You know, they already had the 5 o'clock shadow on Leatherneck. They're trying to do something different with every figure. You know what I mean? So the road pig and doggo pack is why micro shops like mine exist. I hope the shoulder pads are removable, but seems glued on.
There's always a way. I bet you they come off.
It's that face sculpt I'm not sure about. It is kind of funny, but I don't know if it's more laughable than menacing. But there's that mask you were talking about. The muzzle.
Yeah, I think that's for the dog, right?
Well, it looks like it could fit his face too. That's what I said in the last game, but I think it is
now
for
that
the
it's
dog.
next to him, I'm wondering if I'm wrong.
Sort of reminds me of Kevin Nash as the Russian in the 04 Punisher movie. See, Road Pig is a doofus, always was.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's awesome. Road Pig body could be used for future fridge figure. So that's one of the consensuses we got, and that's why it makes sense to have fridge coming up.
Yes.
All right, cool. And then there's the baddest, goodest boy.
That's awesome.
Oh, this is great. He's gonna eat Starduster's cereal box. So the muzzle is for Road Pig. We don't really know yet. We haven't seen any pictures with it. But moving on, we got the Tupac. How you feeling about the Steel Core Commander versus Twilight Guard?
Do we know what number this is? I can't see. Is it like 140? 140?
Someone in the chat, do the research for me, please.
Yeah. This is my first skip.
Oh, look at this. This is a pass for me. First skip? You don't want a Star Wars character on the right?
Dude, I don't know what. Listen, they're trying something here, but this is the first one where I'm okay. So it took me 141 figures to say, you know what? I'm gonna wait this one out. I don't normally wait for sales. I could give a crap. Like if I want something, I want it. If I want multiples, I'll get it. This is the first one where I'm just like, Like, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't evoke anything for me. It just feels like an entire kit bash. And
Something I noticed is it was a Helix and it was Techno Viper had that Asian lettering in the back,
yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So we're seeing it here. I don't think we've seen it since. And if we did, you can let me know. But yeah,
No,
I don't know.
I guess when they do stuff like this, the only thing I'm thinking is that G.I. Joe and Cobra, it's global, right?
Yeah.
So they're just
Yep.
in a different part of the world having this battle. But yeah, this is just it's Crimson Guard, it's Cobra Officer, it's a mix, and then he's got what, a cape on. So I don't know. It doesn't blow me away if he's up on Amazon and there's a price reduction, I'll get it. But I usually never use that as a template. So I'm going to say out of all the figures, 141 is the first one that I said, I'm okay if I don't get it.
Baldy, I'm not a fan of the Twilight Guard, but I want the gold head steel core, the commander helmet.
And you know what, Darren? That is a Hasbro thing. That is why, some people get the Luke Cage 2-pack just to get Iron Fist and vice versa. They know what they're doing. They're giving you they know that people want the Steel Brigade, the gold helmet. So they're giving you this figure that is kind of teetering. And then there's going to be some very clever artists out there, photography artists, that are going to do something really cool with that crimson. What are they calling it? A Twilight Guard?
Twilight, yeah, because I think it's an inspiration from the Shadow Guard.
Okay.
And then Shadow Crimson Guard, and then here we go. I dig the weapons. Like, they're probably gummy as hell, and when I review it, be like, this is trash. But we're getting I like the purple and the two-tone with the purple and black. I think it's cool. Like how you got, like, he's full in black, but then he's underneath his arms are purple, and he's got like the purple like underneath the collar. I don't know. I like the Twilight Guard a lot. The Steel Core Commander doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I do think that the gold and green accents definitely make him stand out. And he's a little buff. And then on top of it all, Baldy, these to me are singular characters. Like, these are not builders. You know what I mean? Which is nice. You can just get one pack. Some people are going to buy a bunch, especially if they're on clearance or sale. But to me, these are just one and dones. Like, I don't need multiple of these, like, you know what I mean? Like, these are just one person each.
You know what? It kind of evokes Halo to me. So it's like you got Master Chief with your Steel Brigade, and then you've got if you go back to that gun, that purple gun, that feels like that Needler gun from Halo. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about? You hold
this, or I gotta go back.
Go back one more. That one.
Yeah. No, I know 100% what you're talking about. The needler, just without the needles. 100%. Yeah. And then once again, War Chest spoils us. Gummy as hell. You mean fruit roll-ups? Yeah.
Great.
You guys are great. All right, we've gone over 3 hours, so let's kind of zoom on by here. We got this one.
Yeah, because I'm East Coast, baby, and I got to work tomorrow.
Holy shit, Baldy. All right. And then we got, these are from the booth. I think I took this one. This is a shot right there. And then this is from his tank.
See, that's
nice,
cool.
Nice. Yeah, nice. See how they look in person, though. This definitely looks freaking awesome with the gold helmet and the.
I'll probably change my mind in person, but right now, this is the first time I'm going,
Twilight Guard has gung-ho weapons. Yeah, okay. Wrap it up, bitches, Spec says. Well, you're not on the show. You can leave. All right, 60th anniversary. KJ did an amazing deep dive on Sunday. I'll just say that, but we didn't show every image. But as I skimmed through these images, Baldy, just talk about what you think of speaking of Halo, the high altitude, low opening jumper here, and of course the
Oh,
sniper.
nice segue. I love it. It's a solid reuse of airborne. It looks a lot of fun. I can't wait to get the parachute. I'm gonna be the nerd that's out there in the field throwing that thing up in the air. So
Even though you're not supposed to, they said in the panel it doesn't fly or work or anything.
What?
You can try it. I think they said that in the panel. Don't throw it out of the window, Tony said.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna test it out, and we're gonna see.
That should be your review. Let's do it. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Cool. And then here's the packaging for the sniper. And someone left a comment earlier about how they dug there isn't a Marine female sniper, I guess, supposedly, but they said they dug that they went this way anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's in the Army there is. There was a woman not that long ago that passed all the marksmanship, but I think it was in the Army and not in the Marines. I could be wrong. I'm okay with this. I think it fills out the female ranks. It's a toy, so it depends, and especially if you know people in the military and you just want to give them a GI Joe as a gift, a woman might appreciate this, but she might also get in and go, "There's no such thing as a female Marine sniper."
That would be hilarious.
That would be so funny. But I think it's fun looking. That parachute fucking works.
Right. Look at all these accessories. So you get a lot. And the sad thing is we didn't get the $25 ones from EE and BBTS this time. They held the line at $34.99, bro.
Yeah, I know. But we are getting that Nalga hide. That Nalga hide is shipping. The $24 one.
Yeah, the cheap one.
Yep.
And then you said what's cool is you got a 2-in-1 with the sniper, because you get the neck pops off. They're starting to do the neck thing on a lot of figures, and then the alternate hand, kind of like what Operation Monster Force is doing, right?
Yeah. And that ghillie suit actually looks like a ghillie suit. It doesn't look like something that you would use as a duster.
I know where you're going there. We'll just move on. And there's our Halo guy on the ground in the night, and then we got our sniper, and then yeah, look, he's got the very much hit and run vibes, and hit and run is my number one most anticipated figure, so I guess this one will have to settle for now.
Yeah, so when everybody kind of, that's the first thing you saw when you saw him, right? And then you really look at him and you go, oh, wow, it's all airborne. I wonder if that's going to take away from hit and run. Hit and run was one of my favorites too as a kid. I mean,
yeah, you're not wrong, right? Because we already got this, then it's like, oh, it's just kind of like a re-release, repaint, instead of getting like, oh my god, hit and run, my most anticipated figure ever. And then so it does take away, but I can't hate on this, you know what I mean? So Airborne says there's no Marine Scout sniper, but U.S. Army Sergeant Macy Hay is the first Army active duty sniper, and she digs the figure. I think you were referencing that.
Yeah. So Darren and I are like two peas in a pod.
A lot of comments just saying the ghillie suit is great and all that.
Yeah.
Cool. Look at that.
Yeah, that's the problem though. I'm gonna lose that thing in my backyard. Because I actually go outside with my toys.
60 the line has been great.
Do you know I was on I think I was with you in Georgia and my wife texted me.
No. What was that? I'm sorry.
I was in Georgia with you at Joe Fest, and my wife texted me and she sent me pictures of the gas cans from the Vamp. And she's like, I found these in the middle of the backyard. Are these yours?
Oh, that's freaking great. Look at this guy said, Multisante, no female Marine sniper. Next time you'll tell me there's no actual Twilight Guard. At first I was like, is this an angry comment?
No, that's awesome.
That was a great comment. It's just late, so I'm gonna get like offended by jokes. Look, there's hit and run. But yeah, it's just it's amazing. But yeah, good choices. Look at that. I love that. Love that shot. Cool. That's actually it for pre-orders. What else we got? Oh, we got the name only. So let's get into it. Just give us a quick. We already talked about this on Sunday, so let's just give me quick bites of these.
Rock and roll. We all knew it was coming. People have done some amazing customs, but I mean that's an easy custom, right? We knew he was coming. He's going to have no tattoos. He's going to have the green. That's heavy duty, right? That's the first version of heavy duty. We all know that heavy duty is Roadblock's cousin, I think, according to the original file card. I could be wrong. But we already got heavy duty, and that was Cobra Island Roadblock. And then,
exactly.
Retro Viper. Listen, I have Vipers. I love that I have Cobra Island Vipers, and the exclusivity of having them, I love. But this gives everybody a chance to get some Vipers, so I'm all for it, and I think that'll be fun. Law and Order. He was one of those characters that I think more people, or at least kids, we all wanted that dog, that German Shepherd. But yeah, it's fun, and I think same thing that I just said about the Viper. Everybody gets another shot at Dr. Mindbender, and it's different enough where it doesn't take away from the fans that already got the exclusive. I think everybody's saying, what are they going to do different? So here, I'm going to tell you. The accessories will be less and maybe a little bit different. The color palette will be different. But on this cape, you're going to have the Cobra logo that we didn't get on the first one.
And then we go, well, hey, everybody. I'm Merman. I've seen Merman. And Merman. And then, I'm sure you've seen it. If you didn't, I reviewed the G.I. Joe Classified ComicCon exclusive Once a Man Cobra Commander. So did Kyle Peterson and B's Battleground. So they're starting to see some reviews out there on the circuit. So go check that out. And as far as when we know this is coming out, I've only been saying August 5th because that's what I was told. But then Diagnostic 80 said, I don't know why people are saying August 5th. It's not true, whatever. So I don't know. You'll get it when you get it. Keep your eye on the Toy Kind of Mood social media, BaldyLockz social media. We'll update you the second we know PulseCon stuff is going, not PulseCon, but Pulse stuff from Comic-Con is going for sale. We're going to give you the link. It's what we always do. Follow our G.I. Joe, our YouTube community on a Toy Kind of Mood. Follow BaldyLockz on Instagram and his YouTube community as well. And I just posted a review for the 2 people out of 60, 70, 80, 90 watching the show that like wrestling. I posted a review. This one's cool, though, because it's Kenny Omega in Captain America inspired gear, but he's from Canada. So there's a lot of fun in this review. I had a blast reviewing this exclusive. It's up on the channel. Even if you hate wrestling, just watch it anyway and give me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Baldy, what do you got coming for yourself for content on your channel?
Listen, I have a full list of ideas. It's just time management. I'm about to go on vacation with the family. I'm flying out for work, so I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to get to some stuff, and I'm behind a lot of people, but I'm okay with that. I'm still going to review it. Let's see, the next one coming up. I actually think I'm going to take a break from Joe's and go over this reissue of Kingpin.
Well, you got I don't know anybody else who's reviewed that, so you could just stay up all night and review it and be first and then go to sleep and feel like shit the next day, which
I'm okay. I don't have to be first.
Yeah. I know. I'm playing. But cool. What else you got going
on? Not much. I do want to just address this one real quick. Can you guys touch on the Cobra Fang? Yes. I think we all know that it's coming. A lot of people are thinking that was the one from Walmart a couple years ago, just used in the photography.
Right. Yeah.
But they've already tested the waters. They know that this stuff is going to sell. I think it's coming. So yeah, it's not going to be this year, but it might be next year.
What is on top of the claw and the package art with the fangs and claws in the sneak peek photo? Did we put that on there?
I didn't. What is on top of the claw?
We didn't see package art for the claw.
We did see something. There's a digital render of the claw, and one of the claws has another character on top as if it's maybe Snake Eyes. So if you guys can pull up that digital render, and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But I think that's Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes on the back of the claw is a homage to issue 21. And Emily said there's an Easter egg in that photo. Very well done. And I think that's going to be it, bro. That's it. Yep. I think you're done. I'm done. And this was fun, man. Shout out to Diana Davis. What a guest. If you guys are
that was a nice surprise.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Next time we'll have her name on the billboard as we go on. But that was a nice last minute addition, and she's an awesome sauce. So this was a fun episode, dude. We dug into all things Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Energon Universe. Baldy, any parting last words?
No, guys, listen. Go outside, grow up, play with your toys, and go hug somebody.
I love it. Couldn't have said it better. All right, guys. For Trav Moody, for BaldyLockz, and the entire crew at A Toy Kind of Mood, I think that's it for Comic-Con. There's going to be some reviews coming from exclusives and stuff like that for Comic-Con. But as far as live streams, we may pick some stuff up on Wednesday. But this Sunday, again, for the two people in the chat who love wrestling, we may be doing a wrestling figure news kind of mood, covering both WWE and AEW, all the drops from Mattel and Jazzwares, with likely a mega special guest if you're into that kind of thing, wrestling figures that is. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we'll catch you guys in the toy out. Peace.
Good night, guys.
Bye.